has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Folks, it is a much different world now than it was when we woke up this morning. What was once a calm day. I woke up this morning, I'm writing Armstrong's Minute, I'm getting ready for the show today, and there's not a lot to talk about outside of Baylor and Houston in the Final Four. Paige Beckers won the AP Player of the Year, soccer played last night, volleyball swept Kansas State. You're like, all right, you know, that's some fun news around sports locally especially, but then you wake up, you open Twitter, and you find out that nothing that you know is real, that nothing's the same. While it's April Fool's Day, I don't think these things are jokes. Roy Williams is retiring from UNC in the basketball program at UNC after, what was it, you say a 30... Armstrong, where did that noise come from? It's kind of cool, though. What was that?
That's the next song on the playlist.
Oh. Nice. Roy Williams is retiring from North Carolina after, 33 years?
33 years, and that's counting he was assistant there for under Dean Smith.
33 years. Roy Williams had his stint at Kansas. He has 903 wins total in his career in the NCAA. He has competed in well over 100 NCAA tournament games. He's 79-27 in those matches. He was at Charles D. Owens High School. Charles D. Owen High School is where he got his start for 5 seasons. North Carolina assistant, Kansas head coach for 15 seasons, and then the last 18 years, the head coach at UNC. I mean, he's just bleeds blue, man. Like, when you think UNC basketball in the modern era, you think Roy Williams, and Roy Williams is now retiring. Now, I thought it was an April Fool's Day. Also, 254-339-1122. Give us a call. At first, it was the first thought was, okay, it's April Fool's. Of course, somebody out there is going to do something stupid like this and come out and say, our head coach is retiring. But when it's Roy Williams, when it's the magnitude of Roy Williams, there is no way. Like, for the folks out there, they're like, you might not really be retiring. It's just probably an April Fool's Day joke. Well, you're wrong. There's no way that a university, a program of the magnitude of North Carolina, is playing an April Fool's Day joke on people with Roy Williams. Because I thought the same thing at first, too. And I still, there's that small 4% of me that's skeptical of Roy Williams actually leaving North Carolina. He's not that old. However, he's 70. He's only 70. A lot of these coaches are coaching up into their mid-late 70s. I mean, Boeheim's, 76? So Roy Williams has got 5 or so more years in him when compared to other coaches' tenures. That said, you can't get away with this. If Roy Williams woke up this morning with UNC and they said, hey, we're going to play a April Fool's Day joke on the folks at home today and just see what happens, he's going to actually have to retire now. There's no going back on this. If it was a joke at one point, it's now reality because there is no damage control in coming out and saying like, hey, well, it was an April Fool's joke. Why aren't you guys laughing? Not going to happen. There's just no way that happens. Roy Williams is retiring from North Carolina. It's not an April Fool's Day joke. You gotta soak it in. Sam Gore of ESPN is going to join the show with us at 11:30 today. He'll have about 10 or 15 minutes with us. He's preparing right now to actually announce. He's calling the NCAA Gymnastics Championships for ESPN. And then on Sunday, he's doing the volleyball selection show. But prior to that, Sam's going to join our show. He's a North Carolina native, big UNC guy. He's going to talk about the legacy of Roy Williams and what Roy Williams Roy Williams has meant to North Carolina. All right, outside of that, college basketball is burned down today. The up-tempo tweet of the slate that we have for you guys today, that's the first thing it says, is the world is on fire. College basketball is on fire. Sources have confirmed the Texas Longhorns are moving forward and hiring Chris Beard. And per Armstrong, what Armstrong told me about 5 minutes before the show, officials at Texas Tech have confirmed that Chris Beard from University of Arkansas Little Rock, where he won a tournament game against Purdue, moves out to UNLV. He's the head coach at UNLV for all of about 48 hours. Quits that job, takes a job at Texas Tech, and has been to a national championship with the Red Raiders, built a program out of really, really nothing when he got there into a I don't want to say perennial powerhouse. He hasn't been there long enough to call it a perennial powerhouse, but he's built them into a really formidable basketball team, not just in the Big 12, but on the national scale as well. He showed he can recruit out of the transfer portal, and he can win with less. I'll tell you this. Chris Beard at Texas Tech did not have the athletes, did not have the team that Shaka Smart at Texas had, and Texas Tech still made it out of the first round of the NCAA tournament. That in itself should say something. Chris Beard now to Texas Tech. He is, though, as I understand it, Chris Beard is a Texas alumni. That's the only free pass that I can give here. Say that it's Baylor, all right? Let's flip the script here. Say it's Baylor. Scott Drew comes in this time now, right? He just came in, and then 5 years from now, Scott Drew has taken Baylor to a national championship. Scott Drew has won all these tournament games. He's competing in the Big 12, winning at a high rate. And then Scott says, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm going to TCU. The outrage in that. And if you're TCU, do you want to hire that guy? You do want to hire that guy, but it's also that, wow, this is really kind of taboo if we do this. So maybe you're reluctant to do so. This situation with Chris Beard, the free pass that I can give, because it's Tech and Texas. Like the names in themselves is a rivalry. The free pass that I can give Chris Beard is that he went to Texas. He's an alumni. Like that's his school. And he had to go to Texas Tech to build that repertoire, to be able to go to a school like Texas. So I give you a free pass for going, you get to go to your alma mater and coach at a place that you want to coach. I get that. You get a free pass on that. Otherwise, I can see how folks would be outraged that you go from a rival to a rival, a team that you competed against in conference play for the last couple of years. The logic that I give, though, is that Chris Beard, Texas ties, is one. Wait a second. Whoa. Did you know he didn't just go to Texas?
Chris Beard?
Yeah. That he also went to Abilene Christian? Huh. I might have to do some research on that. Maybe he didn't graduate in Texas.
Maybe Abilene Christian can come swoop in.
Maybe Abilene. Hey, I thought Abilene Christian's head coach was going to UT. I did. Chris Beard, though, off to Texas, shipping him off from Lubbock to Austin. He's going to move a little bit closer to Waco to be near and dear to the Baylor family. But if I'm a Baylor fan, if I'm anybody else in the Big 12, I'm scared. I don't want to say scared necessarily. Scared may be the wrong word, but I am confident that Chris Beard is going to do a good job. Chris Beard's going to beat Baylor at Texas at least a couple of times over the next 5 years. He's a great coach. He's really good at what he does. That's not bad that's how it's going to happen. That basketball team, look, remember, Baylor fans, it's kind of tough to remember, but the typical basketball team loses what, 5 to 7 times in a year? A standard Power 5 basketball program loses 2 or 3 tough non-conference games and 4 to 5 conference games. That's a standard basketball season. You can be a 1 seed and lose 5 games in regular season in a normal basketball year. That's not that uncommon. So just saying that Chris Beard is going to beat Baylor while he's at Texas is not a bad thing necessarily. It's just reality. He's a great coach. Texas can recruit. There are recruits in the state of Texas that if they can keep them home, will make them a national championship caliber program under Chris Beard. Will the toxicity of the program and the toxicity of the school get in the way of that? That's unknown. That's a legitimate possibility. However, for now, I think Chris Beard will do a good job at Texas. Also, Chad Morris is hired at Allen High School.
Yeah, that's so weird. But not.
Yeah, but like, that makes sense. Checks out. That's like on the lowest list of the totem pole. That was like one of the A1 things coming into today. And now it's like he was so excited to get all this national publicity again. Yeah, I'm a coach
What?
again.
Yeah.
Nobody cares anymore.
Why does all this news have to come out on April 1st, though? It just makes you question everything.
Somebody needs a new planner. We need a new scheduler. We need yeah. God works in mysterious
I
ways.
just hate April Fool's Day.
How about this
so
too?
much.
Can you see it here?
Here, let me zoom in.
Wow. Can you folks at home see that? In honor of Matthew Meyer, having the mullet and the lightning bolt, I went in to see my buddy Luke Wu yesterday, who also cuts Matthew Meyer's hair. He is Matthew Meyer's barber. And I got one of these suckers. Yeah, that's right. That's a lightning bolt. Yeah. You know what Luke Wu told me too? The barber, Luke Wu, the Waco barber. He said, that lightning bolt, it's better than Matthew Meyer's. He said he put more attention and detail into my lightning bolt than he did Matthew Meyer's. The mullet bros. I'm now a mullet bro. This is in honor of March Madness going on and Baylor being in the tournament. But Steven from Virginia has been on the Impact Health Labs call line waiting for a second. Sorry, Steven, a lot of breaking news today. We got you on now. What's going on, my man?
I wanted to talk about our breaking news a little bit. There's a lot of it. First, I encourage you, Armstrong, to check your phone. I made a Syracuse joke about Jim Boeheim and his extracurricular activities with my best friend who's a Syracuse fan.
Woo!
That didn't go so well. Those jokes aren't popular with those people, I'll just tell you that. Even if they don't like Jim Boeheim. Those jokes aren't popular.
Oh, man.
I can imagine.
So, and then also it's Thursday, and in a quick break from college sports, it's opening day in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So
many
since
things happening.
opening day fell on a Thursday, I'm wearing my Paul Goldschmidt St. Louis Cardinals jersey for when we win the World Series this year. That's an underdog bet that I would take.
Anyway, I'm going to take
on
it.
college
If Steven
side.
gives us a bet, I'm going to take it. Yeah, Steven, we got a lot of breaking news in college. Outside, it is MLB opening day. I'm glad that you mentioned that, Steven. I forgot. I actually forgot. What do you got for us?
I will tell you, but we don't have to talk about that. I just wanted to mention it. First of all, what's getting me through this Chris Beard stuff is that he could be playing a huge April Fool's joke on the University of Texas. What if tomorrow he decides to go back to Texas Tech because he got a raise?
Do you think this is a sick joke? Well, Texas Tech officials have announced that Chris Beard is leaving. Armstrong told me that.
Well, that's true. And see, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I think that's the best thing that could happen to me this year, regardless of a Baylor championship, is if tomorrow Chris Beard decided that he was going back.
I think that if we're in a situation in which Texas can rebuild very quickly with most good head coaches, whereas I don't feel the same way about Texas Tech. I think if Chris Beard leaves Texas Tech, he's going to put them in the cellar of the Big 12 for the next 5 or so years. I really think that's what's going to happen. I don't see Texas Tech sustaining.
I'm completely on board. First of all, I want to say I don't think Texas will get much better. They will get a little bit better, sure, they might be, but this year they were a 3 seed. The better we're talking about is like still being a 3 seed and instead making it to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 on an annual basis. Because that's something Rick Barnes didn't even do, is be a high seed and make it to the second or third weekend of this tournament regularly.
Right.
That's all Chris Beard has to do to separate himself from Shaka Smart. And it was a 3rd seed already. Right. And they're already in with the big recruits, and Chris Beard already has a history of getting big-name players like Mac McClung or like the transfer from VCU. And he's already got a track record of winning in a place like Lubbock. But I also want to say, I think Lubbock falls, if we're talking about the power ranking of the best 10 programs. Tech falls greatly, but they don't become the bottom dweller like they used to be. There are certain things about Tech. Tech had Bobby Knight, and Bobby Knight was semi-successful there. Kind of like the level of success he had at the end of his Indiana tenure, where they were really good in non-conference, kind of stuck it up in regular season and conference play and made the tournament. But Tech hasn't sustained a winner. So if I was Tech, I'd be looking at someone like Grant McCaslin or, the Oral Roberts coach.
Paul Mills.
Or Jerome Pang.
Don't send. Somebody put it out today. Don't send Jerome to Lubbock. Not anywhere but Lubbock, please. UNC for Jerome Tang.
Oh, I don't want that. I certainly don't want that. But if I'm Texas Tech and I'm thinking about, well, we just made a national championship game in the recent history. We have a shared Big 12 title. You know, you're thinking about how are we going to be able to go to stop ourselves from becoming TCU. I mean, TCU hired Jamie Dixon away from Pitt, and that hasn't worked for them at all. So what happens if all of a sudden Tech goes back to losing again? Then those are just banners in your ceiling, and they don't really mean anything for your program.
I think that's what it's going to be. I think that's going to be the reality for Tech. I mean, I don't know if it matters the hire unless you find another coach. Here's the deal with Texas Tech. Why Chris Beard was so good is because he came there and he brought in a slew of transfers. And so he was good right away. That's what Chris Beard does, is he's good right away wherever he goes because he brings in a good slew of transfers. You cannot recruit. I wholeheartedly believe, basketball-wise, it is very tough to recruit freshmen to Texas Tech because in-state players, Tech is so far down your list right now, I can't imagine. That said, for a transfer who's looking for a shot at a big-time school and Chris Beard's your head coach, that's pretty. I like that shiny penny. I'll pick it up. I just don't think the next head coach at Texas Tech is going to be able to do the magic that Chris Beard can do in the transfer portal. I don't, and that's what's going to bury Texas Tech.
And see, that's the thing that I'm very concerned about with Texas Tech, too, is if Texas Tech isn't going to go to that kind of strategy where they bring in the top transfers on the market every year, then they need to go with what Shaka did kind of at VCU. Someone who runs a completely different system than everyone else that you have to prepare differently for when it's your turn on the schedule. The same way that, you know, somebody has to run the option, and that team that runs the option will go 9-3 on a regular basis because you only face the option one time in a blue moon. Yeah. And see, the thing is that before the pandemic, Tech was selling out that arena. And that's money that Tech didn't have before. People weren't coming to basketball games. Not even when Bobby Knight was the coach were they selling out. So you have money from making the tournament. This is your opportunity to keep it going. So what you need to do is you need to go get one of these. If I'm a Tech person, this is not what I want as a Baylor fan, but what you need to do is you need to go get one of these really good assistants from the Baylor coaching tree, get a really good assistant from the Chris Beard coaching tree that knows the culture there, or get somebody with a style of play that's completely different than the rest of the Big 12. Either they play man, full court pressure defense, or they run up and down and dunk, or like whatever it is. Something completely different that will bring fans to the arena in the absence of winning, and it will allow you to sustain the blow. Because the worry, if I'm Texas Tech, is, well, what's Mac McClung going to do now?
Yeah.
That's his coach. And he's the best player
and he's not
that I've seen in a Texas Tech uniform.
I don't know that he's going to the NBA. He hasn't great draft prospect. Steven, we got G-Dub on the back end here. Let me give you some Bear Games questions today, though, right here. So first being, what do you remember? What is one sports memory, like one sports announcement that you remember where you were when you heard it?
Are we talking about specifically a sports-related one? I mean, everyone talks about, you know, the past year when Kobe passed away. I'll never forget that.
Right.
But an announcement, the most recent one for me is I remember where I was when the Cardinals traded for Nolan Arenado. If you're talking about a sports moment, I'll never forget seeing Mark McGwire's 60-second home run live in 1998. I was 7, and, you know, I've told you all I lived in St. Louis when I grew up. You know, St. Louis is the baseball city of baseball cities. I mean, you know, I think parent-teacher night was that night, and they wheeled the TV in to parent-teacher conferences. All the parent-teacher conferences, they had enough TVs for everybody that everyone could watch when Mark McGwire came up to bat. And he didn't hit it the first time, and my parents came home, and it was like the 4th inning, and my dad called in the room. And to be honest, I don't really get along with my dad too well, but this is something that I'll always remember. My dad called me in and said, history is about to happen. You don't want to miss it. And Mark McGwire hit number 62 on the first pitch. Wow. I mean, I was 7 years old, so I was convinced he knew everything. And it was like one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
Wow. Steven, my other two for you here. We've got Lion King or Tarzan.
I think I got to go with Lion King. Tarzan is a good one. Tarzan is like a top 25 kind of program, but Lion King is like a team that's annually a number 1 or number 2 seed.
Yeah,
That's a pretty easy road for the Lion King to the Final Four.
Zootopia or Moana?
I haven't seen either of these, but like I said, I heard Armstrong praise Moana a couple weeks ago. If I'm correct. So based on Armstrong and the fact that Armstrong has a film degree from Baylor, I believe, so I'll take his word on this and I'll pick Moana. And my last thing is, before I say later, guys, is please let Armstrong get on the mic today and talk about this UNC coaching search. I want to hear his opinion too. It's his show too. Oh. Later, guys.
Later, Steven. It's not my show.
It's my show.
It's your show. G-Dub, what's going on, man? G-Dub, it's a crazy day in college sports.
Man, I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, Texas can throw money out to whoever they want, whenever they want. So it doesn't really surprise me that they did this. But in terms of it affecting Baylor, I don't see the mission for Baylor doesn't change.
Right.
Yes, Chris Beard can get recruits now because it's Texas, but now Scott Drew has the recruits to play with them, with Kendall Brown and all the guys we had redshirted last year. This year. So L.J. Cryer, Dane. So it matters, but the mission doesn't change.
I like that.
It doesn't scare me because Baylor has the recruits now to match Texas.
I think scare would be a strong word. I think scare was a strong word for me. I definitely think he'll be successful at Texas, but that's not going to put a dent into Scott Drew's stride, that is. I know G-Dub, JD's walking his dog at the dog park a little bit early today. He'll be with us at 1 o'clock, but I know you had a question for us about Scott Drew and Kim Mulkey.
All right, so here's the question. So it's safe to say that both are going to get a statue whenever they build the new field house?
I think it is safe to say. I think Scott Drew gets Baylor to the Final Four for the first time in modern history. Kim Mulkey definitely gets a statue. Kim Mulkey's got 3 national championships. She's got a statue.
Okay, then here's the question. What are they what's the sculpture of? Like, what are they doing for the sculpture?
Oh,
because you figure
standing.
Because you would figure Kim Mulkey would be holding a national championship trophy, but if Baylor doesn't win it, what is Scott doing in the sculpture?
I don't think I don't think Kim's holding a national championship trophy. Actually, I think Kim is got like a war face on, like one of those signature where she got the fist out and just like the big like the big scream. You always got the bit. I think Kim's statue, she's got fist out for sure, without a doubt, and the other one kind of like that right there, and then Scott. I think Scott's more of a stoic. Scott's like Scott's
not a stoic.
Scott would be.
You can't have stoic.
It'd be very stoic.
You can't have stoic Scott.
It'd be very like hands behind the back.
No, it'd be him pumping up the crowd.
Like this.
Yeah.
Or
you know what I'm saying?
Him and his smile, that'd be a good one too.
Yeah, him smiling, hands behind back, just feels like Scott.
Yeah,
I don't know if I like the hands behind the back.
Mate,
that's good. Important though because we are deciding. That's
a good question. That is a good question.
We are the committee. We're deciding.
Or they could do. I don't know if y'all saw that picture of him and Coach Tang with the nets around their neck. After they cut down the nets, they could use that one too.
Scott Drew with a net around his neck on the statue would be a power move.
That picture of him on the bus. That sculpture
such a meme.
Yes.
That bus picture is such a local meme. Hey, G-Dub, we got to roll kind of quick here. We got a guest coming on from ESPN. I want to ask you, though, biggest sports moment that you remember where you were when it happened?
Ooh, probably 2008 when Tim Duncan hit that 3 against the Phoenix Suns. Yeah. I was in the top deck with one of my best friends, and they passed it to him, and we were like, "What are they doing?" And he hit the shot, and
wow, he nailed it. He nailed it.
Yeah, it was one of the best things I could ever imagine.
Wow. G-Dub, Lion King or Tarzan?
Lion King.
Lion
Easy.
King. And really, really quickly, Zootopia or Moana?
Moana.
Moana, lock it in. Hey, G-Dub, thanks for your call, man, as always.
Yes, sir.
I love it. All right, Drake Toll, Armstrong Sims. When we come back, Sam Gore of ESPN joins us. He is a North Carolina expert, born and raised, a big UNC guy, and Sam Gore is going to join the show and talk about.
Say born. When you're talking about Tar Heels, just FYI, you're saying born and bred. Born and bred. Why you just when you have them on?
Born and bred, UNC. Sam Gore up next. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
The calm before the storm has set in as the nation prepares for the Final Four this weekend. Anxiously waiting, it's as though sports have been put on pause until Saturday's semifinal. Psych! Roy Williams announced this morning that he is retiring after 33 years coaching Carolina basketball. And sources have confirmed that Texas will hire Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard as its next basketball coach. A couple of Baylor teams were in action last night as the number 9 Bears volleyball squad met Kansas State in Waco at 2 p.m. Led by 13 kills from both Yanciana Presley and Lauren Harrison, along with 34 assists from Hannah Sedgwick and another 6 blocks from Sedgwick, Baylor earned a clean 3-0 sweep of the Wildcats. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culture Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the #1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culture Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culture Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culture Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culture Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs. On-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No kicks.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Jersey Day, everybody. Big news across college basketball and college athletics today as Chris Beard. Reports have surfaced that Chris Beard moving on to Texas. Texas Tech officials have confirmed. And then 33 years in the program and around the program. After 33 years, Roy Williams has retired from the University of North Carolina basketball program. And to help us just get a grasp on what this means, not just for UNC but the basketball world, ESPN's Sam Gore. Sam, thanks so much for joining the show today.
Sure, Drake. It's a bittersweet day for me as a Carolina graduate and somebody that's known Coach Williams since I was 12 years old. I'm certainly sad to see him leaving the head of the program, but happy for he and Wanda that he's getting ready to go into retirement on his own terms.
For those that are just joining the show, Sam, I mean, between tennis and volleyball and basketball, gymnastics, you name it, he's just a do-it-all guy. Swiss Army knife, if you will, at ESPN. And born and bred North Carolina. I got to know, your memories as a Tar Heel fan now to this moment. Was this expected whatsoever for you or those around the program?
I don't know if expected is the right word. I think that all of us that have followed the program closely and have known Coach Williams and the Carolina basketball family, it wasn't an expectation, but it was in our minds. You could just kind of see, not that he had lost the passion for the young men that he coached or the program, but it was a different world this year that a lot of coaches just did not enjoy. And Roy and his wife, Wanda, are very active outside of basketball in terms of philanthropic efforts. Coach loves his golf. He likes to spend time with his family and his grandchildren. And I think he, a lot like Coach K, I know Coach K hasn't said he's retiring, but these guys have just decided that there's a life at the end of basketball and they want to experience it.
I want to know, Sam, one of the things people tell you when you take on a new job is to leave it better than you found it. And how hard is it to leave a program better than you found it when Dean Smith had his run at North Carolina that was so successful? Roy Williams ends up getting that head job and really keeping North Carolina at the forefront of basketball. Has he left this job in a spot that is ripe for the next head coach to come in and have success?
I think he has, Drake. There was a fantastic freshman class that was at Carolina this year. They've had a good recruiting class, and there's just something about wearing the words North Carolina on the front of your chest that still has an appeal to young men. And I feel like that Coach Williams is going to be actively involved in maybe not selecting who the coach is, but input, and he will be there to help this new coach. Carolina has a reputation for staying inside the family, and there's certainly a lot of coaches out there with Carolina ties that will be on the short list to take over. Bubba Cunningham, the AD, I'm sure is on the phones today trying to start that process. But just the short answer to your question, yes, I think he's left the program in very good shape.
Talked about that. If you go from Dean Smith to Roy Williams, there were those buffer years in between where the program just kind of seemed to, the rudders were churning, but there was really no progress. Roy Williams flipped that. What can you say about his tenure at UNC the last 18 years and what he has done, not just for the program, but for the state?
Well, Coach Williams is a Tar Heel through and through. I can remember when I was 12 years old going to Dean Smith's Carolina basketball school. Coach Williams was actually one of my camp counselors. He was the shooting coach for the 12 and unders, or the 12-year-old group that I was in. And I got to know him then. And this is a man who started under Coach Smith as the third assistant. Now, for some of your viewers that may be as old as I am, a long time ago when the third, you could get 3 assistants on your staff, but that third assistant was capped at a salary of $16,000 per year. And Coach Williams had that job, and basically one of his primary jobs to start was to take video cassettes of Coach Smith's television show around to every station in North Carolina that carried the show. They would tape the show on a Friday or a Thursday, and Coach Williams had to get in his car and drop off tapes at television stations all over the state. And then he became, I know when I was a student at North Carolina and we were in the Smith Center, Coach Smith had a reputation of if he saw someone wandering around outside, he'd get up out of his office and go see if they needed anything. And Coach Williams kind of became Coach Smith's protector. Like, hey, you can't do that. You can't walk outside. You don't know who these people are. Coach Williams is fiercely loyal to Dean Smith. Most of what he learned came from Coach Smith. He still puts a lot of Coach Smith's daily routines into his own. But I feel like that, there's been no greater example of what it means to represent North Carolina basketball than Roy Williams to follow Dean Smith. As you mentioned, there were some buffer years, but Coach Smith wanted Coach Williams there all along. But because Coach Williams was a man of integrity like Dean Smith, it took a lot to convince him to leave Kansas because he did not want to let the Kansas program down, even if it was to join his beloved North Carolina. And eventually that circumstance became acceptable to him, and he was able to leave Kansas and go to North Carolina.
For those just joining us, Sam Gore on Up-Tempo today talking Roy Williams' retirement after 48 years in the game. Sam, with the program, you talked about him leaving it in a good place. We've mentioned a couple names, and I definitely don't want you to speculate or put you in a tough spot to speculate, but who are those guys out there, maybe alumni or guys that are close to the program now that would be good fits for North Carolina?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, North Carolina has a reputation of staying inside the family. I don't know if Coach or if Bubba Cunningham, the AD, will continue that trend, but if he does, most people that I talk to believe that Hubert Davis is going to get a good look, who's now an assistant under Coach Williams, and Roy convinced Hubert to leave ESPN, ironically, to come be an assistant. Hubert would be an excellent choice. There's some other head coaches out there that were Carolina players, Jerry Stackhouse at Vanderbilt, Wes Miller for UNC Greensboro, Stanford's head coach, Jared Haas. He's certainly going to be in the mix. So there's some coaches out there within the family that certainly will get an opportunity to interview. I have no idea what direction they're going to go in. I think that this came as such a shock to so many people. I know that a lot of the former players today, and it's a very tight-knit group, the North Carolina basketball family. They did not see this coming. In fact, I personally thought it was an April Fool's joke when I saw it earlier today, and I had to reach out. I'm up at ESPN right now to do gymnastics and volleyball the next few days out of the studio. But I had to reach out to some sources here at work just to make sure that it wasn't a joke.
Wow. I want to reference here as we last couple questions for you, Sam. Jay Billis said Roy Williams is, and this is, he says Roy Williams is what greatness looks like. And I think there's so much in that line that's so heavy. Can you help expound on that or put that into more in-depth words?
Well, I think in terms of really any coach, a coach is a mother or a father to the student athletes that they have under them. And Coach Williams was first and foremost sort of like a mentor or a father figure. When you sign on the dotted line to play basketball at North Carolina, you are in a family. And it's I know this is kind of a very weak analogy with the magnitude, but it's like your salvation. Once you're saved, you're saved. You know, you're God's child forever. And once you become part of that Carolina basketball family, it extends beyond basketball. So they are looking very long-term when they have you under their care to make sure you become a man that they think you have the potential to become. They also help you contribute outside of basketball in terms of volunteering and showing you another side of life. They take care of you. I know even the managers at North Carolina, they've gone on to great contributions to society because they were part of that family. So Coach Williams was just one of those rare individuals that knew how to get the most out of every single young man that was placed under his care. And I think that's a gift. I don't think that everybody has that ability because some people need to be pushed in different ways. And a lot of coaches out there with great intentions still have their own system that they stick to, and you have to mold to them. Coach Williams was a very good combination of looking at what he had to deal with and coming up with a system to run with that personnel, and then individually knowing how to approach that young man and turning them into the man that he thinks they could become.
Sam, last question for you here. The passion that you have for North Carolina basketball, the ties that Roy Williams has to this program, and you talked about it being a family and something that you're bred into. I want to know, when you look at the span of Roy Williams' career, what will you remember? The moments, the memories, what will you remember about his tenure as the head coach of North Carolina basketball?
I just think about the consistency. The fact that he was so consistent. You can be a winner on any given day, but a champion is permanent. And I feel like that Coach Williams just approached life with a consistency that always produced results. And he had such a fantastic perspective. He's very demanding. So you had a certain standard that he required you to meet. And that was always a standard that reflected integrity and character. But I think it's so strange. The most meaningful memory just happened when we, and I'm going to say we because I'm not in my ESPN capacity, but when we beat Duke in the last game of the season on the floor in the Smith Center, Coach bent down and kissed the floor. And I remember looking at that and thinking, wow, I wonder if this is the last time he's ever going to be out on that floor. And so for me, I have that imprint forever in my mind of him bending over and kissing the court at the Smith Center.
Wow. Well, Sam, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us and give us a little bit more insight into what this retirement means for North Carolina fans, the state of the program, and where they go moving forward. That was spectacular. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Sure, Drake. If I couldn't be a Tar Heel, I'd want to be a Baylor Bear. SicEm.
That's right. I love it. Hey, we got him in the Final Four. I'm sure you'll be watching and rooting for him, Sam. Sweep. Again, Sam Gore, thanks so much for joining us on Up-Tempo today. Sam, like I said, jack of all trades, ESPN, tennis, volleyball, basketball, gymnastics. He's at the gymnastics national championships, getting ready for that, to announce that on ESPN this weekend. And then the volleyball selection show on Sunday that the Baylor Lady Bears will be a part of. Did you know, Armstrong, Roy Williams went through a cancer scare almost 4 years ago when a tumor on his kidney turned out to be benign. And then last summer, he had 2 knee surgeries. Earlier this season, he had a vertigo attack that forced him to miss most of the second half of a game against Boston College.
Yeah, he's had a lot of vertigo attacks. It's not been a bad thing.
So, yeah, I mean, the health issues, which that article is from 2016. So, cancer scare in 2012, I take it, and then a couple of other issues in 2015, 2016. Double knee surgery. No, that's not fun.
Yeah, he's been through it.
He's been through it.
For sure.
I love it. How about that? Sam Gore bringing us inside on North Carolina. When we come back, our own resident Armstrong Sims is going to give us a little bit more, and we'll talk some Texas Tech. This is Up-Tempo.
The calm before the storm has set in as the nation prepares for the Final Four this weekend. Anxiously waiting, it's as though sports have been put on pause until Saturday's semifinal. Psych! Roy Williams announced this morning that he is retiring after 33 years coaching Carolina basketball. And sources have confirmed that Texas will hire Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard as its next basketball coach. A couple of Baylor teams were in action last night as the number 9 Bears volleyball squad met Kansas State in Waco at 2 p.m. Led by 13 kills from both Yanciana Presley and Lauren Harrison, along with 34 assists from Hannah Sedgwick and another 6 blocks from Sedgwick, Baylor earned a clean 3-0 sweep of the Wildcats. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Bird Culture Ford has been in Waco since 1936. Ford, the number 1 selling truck in Texas, 43 years running. And Bird Culture Ford proudly supports high school football in Central Texas. And no better way to tailgate with a Ford than from Bird Culture Ford. And are there better vehicles to tailgate with than the Ford F-150 or the Ford Expedition? And of course, you can get them new, pre-owned Bird Culture Ford. Our sponsor of the Ford Tough Player of the Week, locally owned dealership. Online at bkford.com at 1701 West Loop 340 in Waco. Bird Culture Ford.
The holidays are here, and I have a simple question for you. Will you weigh as much more or less than you do right now when the holidays are over? Why not end the year in better shape than when you started and create momentum for 2021? Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has numerous options for stocking stuffer gifts with gift cards for gym or tennis membership, fitness merchandise, tanning, massage, tennis lessons, and personal training. Perhaps a gift for a client, a family member, or a friend. You just need to walk through the front door to change your life. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. Spacious, clean workout room, free weights, Cybex cardio equipment, and no intimidation. A tremendous camaraderie and family atmosphere. So get the best and healthiest Christmas gift you can for someone or yourself. It's time to react today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lake Shore Drive in Waco.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
And welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, everybody. Today's segment is brought to you by Excedrin Migraine. After the morning that we have had in the studio here, I'm telling you, the Armstrong's Minute segment where he says, like, oh, you know, it's a pretty dead day in sports, nothing much going on. Psych! The reason he says psych is when that was written, it was a dead day. There was nothing going on in sports. And oh, how the turntables. Things have certainly flipped over the last even just a couple of hours. How about it, though? Armstrong, I want to get your thoughts on North Carolina, where they go next. I mean, is there a hire in place here for the university?
It seems that probably Hubert Davis has been the coach in waiting, quote unquote, for a while now, ever since he was hired as the assistant. He's kind of been the associate head coach, and the thought, and every time Roy Williams a couple times Roy Williams hasn't been able to coach a game, Hubert Davis takes over. So that is an immediate thought in the program. Now, outside the program, other names are Wes Miller and Jerry Stackhouse. Stackhouse seems like a less reasonable option, just because you'd like to see some real legitimate success, sustained success on the court, But Wes Miller is a very legitimate possibility. I think that's where they should go with Wes Miller. Wes Miller played for Roy Williams, I want to say, in 2005 to 2009 or 2008, somewhere around those years, very early Roy Williams years. But he's now the coach at UNC Greensboro, which, as we know, made the tournament this year. And, he coaches very well. Coaches defense like crazy. His defense are very good. So I don't know exactly where they're going to go, but I would be very, very shocked if they didn't go to one of those three guys, or at least someone, within the Carolina family. I would be very shocked.
Call lines are open, 254-339-1122. T-Rex says bags are packed. We take off in a few hours to Indy. Well, give us a call, T-Rex. You got the Roy Williams video here, though, Armstrong. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, this is after the 2017 National Championship they won. And this just shows you, Roy Williams, his mentor, the coaching line of Roy Williams is crazy. I retweeted a tweet. It's James Naismith, and then his under him is Fog Allen. He taught Fog Allen. Fog Allen taught Dean Smith, and Dean Smith taught Roy Williams. I mean, that coaching tree, and then, Roy Williams taught Wes Miller, and there we go. But,
wait a second. James Naismith taught Fog Allen? How did Fog Allen end up being a good basketball coach?
Yeah, that's true.
James Naismith was a terrible, terrible basketball coach.
James Naismith was a terrible basketball coach. But when your coaching tree line goes back to 3 steps to the founder of the sport, it's a pretty good coaching tree line. So, but this is after, Roy Williams won his 3rd national championship in 2017, and which is more than Dean Smith ever won. Dean Smith only won in 82 and 93.
Only.
Yeah. You say only, and the reason I say only is because he's, you would kind of honestly expect more. But this is after that, and Nance mentions that he has more than Dean Smith, so here's his reaction. I don't think I should be mentioned in the same sentence. Roy Williams is just an incredibly humble man, loves his players like nothing else, just, an all-around amazing guy, so he will be missed for sure. But well-deserved retirement, absolutely.
I want to, what's really probably the weirdest or worst part of that right there, that video right there?
What?
The roar of the crowd after the national championship victory, just the stadium, the obviously it's got to be an NFL stadium.
Yeah, I was there.
For that right there.
Yeah.
You know what's the worst part of that?
What?
Baylor doesn't get that this year.
No.
Imagine that right there.
Yeah. That was a really funny moment because that was in the middle of NCAA was investigating Carolina. And they were just dragging it on for years. And everyone in North Carolina was just like, just do something. Like, we don't even care if we have punishments. Just something. Because the unknown was hurting recruiting. It was hurting all these things. And so when Mark Emmert was announcing he was holding the trophy and I'm presenting this, blah, 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 every person in the building was just booing like crazy. And then he immediately hands it to Roy Williams, and then the boos turned into immediate cheers. It was hilarious.
Wow. I wish Baylor got that this year, but I tell you, there's one guy who will be cheering as loud as a crowd of 80,000. That's T-Rex. What's going on, T-Rex? Got about 3 or 4 minutes right here before we go to a break.
Hey. Who needs 80,000 people when you got a dinosaur, right? You know, so, hey, I'll make sure the team knows that we appreciate it, so don't worry. We may not sound like a bunch of idiots from the freaking East Coast with a lacrosse team problem, but we will make it known that we are very proud of our national title when we get it over.
Isn't this the first Final Four in like the modern era without an East Coast team? Am I right in saying that? I thought I read a tweet.
First time ever without a team east of the Mississippi.
Wow. That's wild. Hey, but the Baylor Bears are there, T-Rex.
Hey, you know what? We'll play anybody, any day, anywhere, anytime. So whether you're the East Coast, West Coast, you're from Canada, you're from down under, you're from the moon, it doesn't matter. Parts unknown, it doesn't matter. We'll see you in Indianapolis. Unfortunately for Houston, it has to be them. So it is what it is for Coug High down there. Shout out to the SD percent to come play us and be slaughtered.
How about what time's your flight today, T-Rex?
What time's my flight today? Is that what you said?
I did say that, yes.
Okay, I'm just breaking up a little bit. 3:45 p.m., so I'll be heading out here. I don't know. I got about a 40-minute drive to the airport, so, I'm just getting some work done. I was taking a little nap because I woke up early. I think my dog was barking at a coyote or something. We ran into a coyote yesterday while I was exercising. I know, crazy. I was actually doing cardio. Amazing. Big old son of a gun, too. And then I'm like, man, you didn't see this in Kansas City. Welcome back to Texas. So I think the coyote chased us home. He thought we had the Roadrunner or something. I think my dog was about to rip his face off. Or maybe he was going to rip my face. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I think Houston sent that coyote to come hunt me down. Put a little bad mojo, try and keep me from missing my flight. But nothing can prevent the prophecy from being fulfilled, Baylor Nation.
Boom.
Not even wild coyotes in Keller, Texas.
Boom. I'm sure you're excited and anxious, T-Rex. Real quick, we got about 1 more minute here before we hit a break, a hard break. I want to know, what is the one sports happening, the breaking news sports whatever, that you will remember where you were standing when you saw it or heard it?
Man, I will remember when, let me think here. Man. You know, I'm going to remember Monday night when we host a national title trophy. That's what I'm going to remember, Baylor Nation. So go ahead and get your tears ready to roll, because we're all going to be crying tears of joy on Monday night when we put that trophy above our head and fulfill the ultimate prophecy. And shout out to the haters who said it couldn't be done. That's the memory, Drake Toll. That's the memory.
Wow. Really quick here, T-Rex, Lion King or Tarzan?
Oh, I'm going to go Tarzan, because Phil Collins didn't have to go that hard on that soundtrack, but he did that for us.
You'll be in my heart. All right, Zootopia or Moana?
I'm going Zootopia. I got to double down on my Zootopia.
All right, Zootopia locked in. T-Rex, thanks for your call.
Hey, you'll be in my heart if you don't make it to Indy.
I'll be there. I'll be there for the championship game on Monday. I'll see you then, okay?
All right, second Bears 169.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, I'm Drake Toll, Armstrong Simpson. We come back, a Baylor legend, a local legend. I'm excited for this. I really am. A local legend, David Smoak, joins the show to talk to us about what it's been like being in Indianapolis, hosting shows from Indianapolis, and following these Bears that he's followed for a long time in their best basketball season in modern history. This is Up Tempo.
The calm before the storm has set in as the nation prepares for the Final Four this weekend. Anxiously waiting, it's as though sports have been put on pause until Saturday's semifinal. Psych! Roy Williams announced this morning that he is retiring after 33 years coaching Carolina basketball. And sources have confirmed that Texas will hire Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard as its next basketball coach. A couple of Baylor teams were in action last night as the number 9 Bears volleyball squad met Kansas State in Waco at 2 p.m. Led by 13 kills from both Yanciana Presley and Lauren Harrison, along with 34 assists from Hannah Sedgwick and another 6 blocks from Sedgwick, Baylor earned a clean 3-0 sweep of the Wildcats. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With your Ram truck from Allen Samuels, you may not have to plow through snow and mud or pull heavy loads, but you could. During the Big Finish year-end event, you get a Ram deal like no other. Employee pricing for all, 0% for 84, and no payments for 90 days. Ram 1500 Lone Star for Christmas. No other truck comes close. And ask about Big Finish pricing on Ram Heavy Duty and Ram ProMaster for your business. Happy holidays from Allen Samuels.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Waco Custom Marketplace is your home for holiday favorites for parties and the time with family. Various specials available in-store and online. A variety of steak gift boxes with 4 ribeyes for $70, 4 bacon wrap fillets for $55, or 4 New York strips for $50, and all come with steak butter. Fall snack box for watching a game or wrapping presents or hosting people at your house, including summer sausage, split horn, and jalapeno cheese, and salted crackers for only $35. 2 pieces of lobster tails with herb butter and 2 bacon wrap fillets for $60. Order online or call in advance to ensure availability, or drop by Waco Custom Marketplace at 425 Lake Air Drive. Waco Custom Marketplace has a full-service butcher shop for customized orders or cuts of your favorite steaks or beef tenderloin or specially ordered prime rib roast. Plus, what you want with pork, poultry, seafood, and more. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
I got breaking news here. We got Western Athletic Conference just announced they're adding several schools.
The WAC.
The WAC.
Okay. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
I think Coach Gundy would be like my guy that I would just like just a hair. Yeah. I just want to be able to see it flow when I kind of slam his arm down.
Here's Drake Toll.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Happy Thursday, everybody. It seems like the bottom has fallen out in college basketball today with breaking news across the sport. Reports that Chris Beard will be taking the job at Texas from Lubbock to Austin to be a Longhorn, and that Roy Williams is retiring from North Carolina. While it is April Fool's Day, neither of those are jokes. Both of those happening in college basketball today. But the biggest news locally, the Baylor Bears in the Final Four for the first time since 1950. And a guy who's been covering the Baylor Bears, not since 1950. He's too young for that, but he's been around the program for a while. Our own David Smoak. Smokey, thanks for coming on the show today.
Hey, no problem. It's nice to still be here. When I left last Thursday to cover the Sweet 16, I didn't know if I'd be coming back on Sunday or maybe Tuesday, or now maybe the hope is I won't leave here until next Tuesday.
Wow. Well, Smokey, that's kind of where I want to start. You know, you went to Indianapolis, and like you just said, there was the unknown of, well, you're going up there. When are you going to come back? How are you going to come back? Will you go back and forth? What has this trip been like logistically? Because it's such a weird year.
Well, it worked out well because I fortunately was credentialed to be a part of it. I was not going to come up here just to be up here. I mean, I didn't attend Baylor. I know you are, and a lot of people who have texted me or said, hey, I'm on my way up there. I was going to come up here if I had a chance to actually be inside the arena and cover the games, which I was able to do in their game with Villanova and also with that exciting comeback and then with what they did against Arkansas on Saturday. So I was taken care of when it came to that, and I said, we're going. I told Brian, Ashley, Colt, Craig, and Paul, I said, we're going to have a presence there. We have to be here. And so the NCAA being credentialed, then it opens me up to a room that, of course, they have a block of hotels and certain rates or whatever. And it's really been, not, I wouldn't say always relaxing because I'm always on the go, always trying to find another guest, a former Baylor player, a former this or that, press conferences or whatever that are on Zoom. But no, Indianapolis is a city where everything is pretty much self-contained. When I was here, Paul was here. We covered the Super Bowl back in January of 2000, I guess it was 12. they have the skywalk that connects everything because of weather and access of all the businesses and hotels. That's been shut off, though. And like today, it's like 40-something degrees and 20-mile-an-hour wind. But the skywalk has been shut off. So, but it's listen, I'm at the Final Four. I'm at the NCAA tournament. I'm covering great basketball players and coaches. So it's been I wouldn't say relaxing, but it's not a difficult beat. It's not. I mean, I'm not going to act like this is hard.
Smokey, I got a question for you about the show and hosting the show remotely from Indianapolis, but I want to hold off on that and pick up where you left off, and that's covering Baylor. And you talked about it, great basketball players, great coaches. This is the first time in modern history this program has made the Final Four, and you're right there at the front end of that. What does that mean to you personally?
Well, I'm fortunate because I've been in the business for 40 years. So I've been to a lot of Super Bowls. I've been to the NCAA tournaments. Paul and I have covered the Elite Eights before. We've World Series. There's been a lot of things. And so, but this here, one of the things when I arrived in Waco in June of 2010, I remember having the opportunity to go. I visited. The first thing I did, I got to know Grant Taft, and then I got to know other people along the way. I had covered Baylor from afar, being in East Texas, but was not really covering Baylor unless a young man that I covered in high school went to school at Baylor, or I knew somebody that used to be at Baylor that I interviewed when I was in Tyler or Longview. But, this is different because – and, of course, I've watched the Lady Bears win 2 national championships in Denver and then 2 years ago in Tampa. This is different because this is a threshold. This is 71 years. This is a year in which they checked the box for winning a Big 12 championship. They had not done that. This is a box checked because of the Final Four, which is another banner. And the men's basketball team, even though there's a pretty darn good history, and even though Scott Drew had accomplished a lot with his teams, there was still that next level of success. And they've checked off 2 of those boxes. They have bigger goals with Houston on Saturday and, of course, on, they hope, Monday against either UCLA or Gonzaga. So this has been interesting. One of the first guys I met, I sat down with Scott Drew, one-on-one with Scott Drew. In a room, Chris Yandel at the time was athletic communications. I had heard some of what other people had said about Scott Drew. Like you, even if we've had players on throughout the last months about when the first time they met him, or others who are in the media, they just couldn't believe he can't be that real. And he is this real. This is Scott Drew from the beginning. And it's been kind of nice. And that staff, they are incredible. It's great to see I love the fact that they're able to enjoy the success.
I love it. Smokey, I love it. Now, I'm going to bounce around a bit here when it comes to going modern, what you're doing right now with the afternoon show and still being able to go live every day and host that. What has that been like, going live from your hotel room? I know we've done remote locally, but now being in Indianapolis hosting shows. Well,
it's different. Zoom, and I think I'm on Skype now. You guys have to always kind of help remind me of where I am. And that's like another story just because of the fact that I'm learning all this along the way. A year ago at this time, we didn't even have SicEm365 Radio. A year ago at this time, we had agreed to do something, but I knew my goals. Paul and Craig knew their goals, and we didn't even have a show. So for us to be active and be here, live from here, we kind of had a little bit of a test drive with what we did at the Super Bowl when we were at the convention center in Tampa. It's really easy, Drake, because one of the things that in the past we would have been in the days of old, we would have been like at the team hotel in the lobby with a table and a setup and, had all the full meal deal. With Zoom now, and we've had Zoom now for over a year, and with Skype, which has been even longer, you can pretty much broadcast from anywhere. That's one of the things we've learned through the pandemic. So it's been pretty easy. I'm sitting here. I'm in my hotel room. It's a suite, not a suite like the presidential suite, but it's got office space. It's got room. It's not just you walk in, boom, you run into a bed. I've got a great setup right here. And again, I've been on the air here every day since Friday, basically. And hopefully I'll be on the air all the way through sometime Monday evening as well.
Wow. I love it. And, of course, you guys are covering with unbelievable content, not just from Indianapolis, but Paul and Craig here in Waco as well. All things Baylor basketball in the scope of sports locally. Smokey, You talked about history. I'm going to go back to the history. The 71 years you mentioned, and Scott Drew, how real and just genuine he is. The culture of joy, that's been a very, very common statement around this program. In the teams that you've covered across your years in sports media, have you ever seen a coaching staff or a program with that culture of joy like Baylor has built?
You know, Jerome Tang's the one that kind of explained that to me. I can't remember when it was, about Jesus, others, then yourself. Yeah, you know, there are teams that win championships. There has to be something more than talent. There has to be something more than great talent or coaching. Sometimes you have all of it, which is what they have right now. And then there's also very few teams win championships or make a run like Baylor's made, or what Gonzaga's done, or what Houston's doing, and also what UCLA has done out of nowhere with losing their last 4 games of the regular season in a play-in team. There has to be some chemistry and camaraderie. There has to be something deeper than you just have guys dripping wet with talent. But this is special. Here's what I think this is. Yes, this team is special. MaCio Teague, Jared Butler, Davion Mitchell, and the others have like I asked Jared this, what was it, a day or two ago? Has there ever been a time when the egos became a problem? You're talking about guys who are all Americans in different ways and all for this one championship. And Jared said, we've left any of that away from the court, away from practice. Yeah, we might go back to where we live when they are there, or back to a hotel room, and you sit there and you go, well, this guy did this guy did this. But instead of being jealous, it feeds us. Because some teams could be ripped apart. He's first team All-American. I wasn't. He's second team All Big 12. I didn't make it at all. And that could actually sometimes get in the way. And I think that joy that you mentioned is how it keeps it from getting in the way. This team here has a special chemistry, and they will, no matter if they win Saturday or they play on Monday and win or lose anyway. They have that. And I think it started, you've heard the stories, we've told the stories, you guys have had interviews. When you think about what you hear from Paul Mills, Grant McCaslin, or we had Matt Driscoll on earlier this week. You talk about that energy drink you slam down your throat every day. He has that like stuck in his veins. Like he inserts that in his veins. This staff has built that over 18 years. There were times when there wasn't as much chemistry as maybe there needed to be, but they built it. There's a certain player that can play at Baylor, and if they can't, they can't.
Smokey, I don't mean to correct you, but it's 3. It's 3 energy drinks that I slam down my throat every day. But it seems like you're right. The guys in this program, they have that in their veins, not just, past, but present. And I want to know with this team, too, Smokey, you and I have gotten to go to some of these games together and cover some games in Waco together. And in what you've seen from this team, regular season and now postseason, Scott Drew's had great players and great teams before, all-star NBA caliber guys. And with this team, though, it seems like there's a conglomerate of talent. While it's not maybe lottery pick talent, it's a conglomerate. What makes this team so much better than Scott Drew teams in the past that couldn't get over that hump?
Age, experience, maturity. Yes, they're talented. Jared Butler can play in the NBA. Davion Mitchell has risen like skyrocketed to where people now know he can be a factor in the NBA because he's also improved what he can do, not just on defense, his ball handling and his offensive skills as well. MaCio Teague, who sometimes you hear about Davion, you hear about Jared, but MaCio Teague has been honored many times as well, and yet he's a silent assassin and a much better defensive player than sometimes people give him credit for. And then, of course, there's the straw that stirs the drink and Mark Vital. Then you have characters like Matthew Meyer, who, he's the one that you want to pop a Prilosec every time he touches the ball because you don't know if it's a good or bad, but it's always with full effort. And how the biggest maturity jump is not Davion Mitchell becoming a very good offensive player. The best part of this team, it helped a lot, was a guy like Matthew Meyer. We had Devontae Bandu on yesterday, and he was talking about when Matthew was a freshman. I mean, he's a thoroughbred. He may be the most talented guy on this roster who doesn't even start. And he has had to listen. They've had to cultivate him. They've had to kind of like ride him to get him to be, not a wild horse. And there are times you still wonder. They have such a great mixture of personalities. Listen, Maceo wants to take that shot. Davion wants to take that shot. Jared wants to take that shot. So does Adam Flagler and others, Matthew Meyer. But it's not like I have to take the shot. It's they want whoever's going to help them win or get that shot in that possession. That's what they want, and they have done an incredible job. That's why this is an old team. When you heard Musselman talk about it from Arkansas, this is an older team. When you heard Jay Wright talk about it at Villanova, 2 years ago when they played, last season when they played, he's like, man, these guys, these are grown men. I had somebody, and I wish I could remember who it was. I can't remember who it was. It was at the Lucas Oil Stadium. He said Baylor looks like that they are these are grown ass men. They are. Now, some of them aren't like physically intimidating, but this is a team that is grown. And I think that's why. They've had teams that were experienced before, but there was a little mixture of Isaiah Austin was going to play 1 year, or maybe Quincy Miller or Perry Jones III. There was a little bit of that starstruck. They had dynamic players, Pierre Jackson, etc. This team here is where they are. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they didn't panic after COVID. They had some problems after COVID, but they didn't panic, and they just kept chipping away.
I'll tell you, Smokey, I think you make a great point there, the grown men aspect. I think back to that 2014-15 Kentucky team that started 38-0. You go back and look at pictures of that team, those are freshman guys with baby faces. There aren't any baby faces on this Baylor team.
Yeah, Adam Flagler can be a little bit of that, but even he has played a lot. He had, and one of the things that is also something that cannot be overlooked is a lot of these guys had to wait their turn. A lot of them not in this immediate gratification of transfer portal, go play immediately. They've had to wait their turn. Jared Butler had to wait his turn. Davion Mitchell had to wait his turn. Maceo Teague had to wait his turn. Matthew Myers had to kind of let others be the stars, and then maybe one day it's his team. Or Adam Flagler's had to wait his turn. This isn't players that came in immediately and immediately contributed. They have all had to wait. And think about Mark Vidal. This is his 5th year. This is his 5th year. You don't get many college basketball teams where you have a 5th-year senior. You don't, because so many guys want to play 1-2 years and then they move on or they transfer. Baylor's been able to find the right type of caliber player, but person when it comes to the transfers that have added to this team.
Absolutely. Smokey, last question here for you on the lines of this tournament team, or this tournament and this team this year. A lot of folks out there have said national championship or bust, that if this team does not win at all, that the season is lost. And I'm willing to bet that you disagree with that, but I want to know why.
Well, I mean, listen, it would be incredible if they were to win it all. We know how much attention Gonzaga is getting. We also know they almost played last year, back when the season first began. That was unfortunate. No, it's not win the championship or bust. To me, and this is from me, and I'm not I don't have Baylor green in my veins. I've just covered them since 2010. I've seen the ups and downs. I've seen the disappointment one year at the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City where the team was walking out of their team hotel. They've been informed that basically Perry Jones had been ruled ineligible, and they got hammered that night by Oklahoma. And that was one of the lowest points I've ever seen of Scott Drew, who's never low. This is a team that I know where they have been. Now, I wasn't here in 2003. I know that story. I covered one of the guys that was involved in that scandal when he was a junior college player. But I'll tell you that, no, to me, winning the regular season Big 12 title was helpful. Getting to the Final Four, to me, means they've reached a goal. And now anything after this, yes, it would be nice to beat Houston, and then, yes, play Monday and maybe win Monday. To me, and I don't care who disagrees with me or not, they have checked the two most important boxes. Nothing's more important than winning the national title, but this team is a legacy team. This is a once-in-a-lifetime team. They still have more to do, but I think that this season, no matter what, has been successful. Now, had they lost to Arkansas, we could debate that a little bit, but they didn't, and here they are this weekend in Indianapolis.
Ticket punch to the Final Four for the first time since 1950. It's a broken record, but I'm not sure they'll ever get old saying that. Baylor in the Final Four. Smokey, our Bear Games question of the day for all of our guests and callers today, and I'm really, really intrigued by the answer that you'll give us for this one. This is the sports moment, the breaking news announcement that stopped you in your tracks, and you'll never forget where you were when you heard it. What was that moment for you?
Magic Johnson had AIDS.
What year was that? How long ago was that?
You know, I don't know. I don't know when. I don't exactly know when the Sean Taylor story, when he was shot, because I'm a lifelong Washington fan, and I love the way Sean Taylor played football in college at Miami. And I remember when I heard he had been shot, and you could tell it was not good. You know, but I think, to me, the one that was like, wow, was when Magic Johnson, the story came out that he had contracted HIV.
That was, we actually did a case study on that just recently, how it was one of the first celebrities, especially athletes, to contract the disease, and that folks still just didn't know. There was just so little information on what the disease was. And now, obviously, Magic Johnson still very active today in sports media and in sports. But Smokey, hey, I love that you're living it up in Indianapolis, and thanks so much for joining the show today and bringing us your analysis of what it's been like up there and this team.
All right. I know you're coming up. We'll see everybody when you get here. I had a lot of people who have texted me, sponsors who are on their way at some point. I don't know what the forecast is for the weekend, but I hope that there's a Baylor contingent, because I'll tell you this. When they played Arkansas, you're an Arkansas guy too, and I know that was kind of tough for you. The Hogs were being called. There was more Hogs fans here. Baylor fans, find a way, because you don't know if it might be 71 more years before you get back. Fill it up like you did Houston. I know the location's not easy to get to in Indianapolis, but you never know how long it will be again. How they did the Elite Eight when they played Duke in 2010 and filled up the NRG. Do that. I know you can't do that here, but if you have a chance, and it's a couple of $100 or $500 more per ticket, if you could afford it, I'd get up here, because this could be a memorable weekend.
I love it. Smokey, I'll see you up there soon. I won't make it for the Houston game, but I'll make it for Baylor winning the national championship on Monday night. Thanks again for joining us today.
All right. You got it. See you guys at 3.
Absolutely. Again, that was David Smoak of SicEm365 Radio. He'll be on from 3 to 6 this afternoon with the afternoon show. This hour of SicEm365's Up-Tempo is brought to you by Banson Business Services, owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 premium subscriber Jonathan Green. Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. Banson specializes in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can even help you with your taxes. Their business helps you run your business. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson for more information. When we come back on the show today, we're going to hear from our resident. He'll be a resident Houston expert today. We all live in Texas. He'll be resident. Adam J. Wexler from Sports Talk 790, the A-Team in Houston, joins the show. This is Up-Tempo.
The calm before the storm has set in as the nation prepares for the Final Four this weekend. Anxiously waiting, it's as though sports have been put on pause until Saturday's semifinal. Psych! Roy Williams announced this morning that he is retiring after 33 years coaching Carolina basketball. And sources have confirmed that Texas will hire Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard as its next basketball coach. A couple of Baylor teams were in action last night as the number 9 Bears volleyball squad met Kansas State in Waco at 2 p.m. Led by 13 kills from both Yanciana Presley and Lauren Harrison, along with 34 assists from Hannah Sedgwick and another 6 blocks from Sedgwick, Baylor earned a clean 3-0 sweep of the Wildcats. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
With so many...
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Don Humidor, you're home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwest Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia, Jesus died for our Cynthias.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts, Julia Love.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Folks, happy Jersey Day today. We are coming up on what might be the biggest weekend. It is the biggest weekend in modern Baylor basketball history as your Baylor Bears take on the Houston Cougars, a matchup between a 1 and a 2 seed for almost all the marbles, a spot in the national championship game. And on the show now, we're going to call him our resident Houston expert because he is a resident of Texas, as are we. So in a roundabout way, it works out. It checks out. Adam Wexler of Sports Talk 790 joining the show. Adam, thanks so much for coming on today.
Hey, you got it. Anytime. Appreciate it.
I love it. You know, Adam, I got to know, the buzz around Houston right now with this Cougar team going to the Final Four. I mean, this is success that this squad has not seen in decades. What is it like being in Houston at a time like this?
Well, it's definitely something that the city needed. Forget about the fact that I haven't done this in 37 years and focus on the fact that the rest of the sports world here in Houston is kind of down in the dumps. Even with the Astros opening day today, James Click today, just actually a couple minutes ago, saying they're essentially tabling negotiations with Carlos Correa. He didn't flat out say that, but They're probably not going to get a deal done before tonight's opener, which means he's likely going to be a free agent. We know what's going on with the Texans and Deshaun Watson. We know what's going on with the Houston Rockets, setting franchise record for most losses consecutively in a season. So this is good news, and the city is hungry for it.
Does it feel like, and this is kind of a question that I didn't even think of, but it's very interesting. Does it feel like maybe this Houston Cougar run has been overshadowed by where the just the turmoil right now in professional sports in Houston?
Yeah, I'm sure it has, because those other items are such a major, obviously this is a town unlike a lot of other places, and you kind of take a look at the Final Four, it's kind of 50-50. The biggest thing ever, Gonzaga. That is the story. I'm sure it's the same in Waco with Baylor. It is the story. It is the team. It is the neighborhood. It is the community. And then you got a team from LA and a team from Houston in the Final Four. It's opening day for the Dodgers. It's opening day for the Astros. There are things that are still at the forefront of people's minds. But the good news for the Cougars is this has actually been building during the Kelvin Sampson era. They've had some tournament really, really tough losses to take twice in the last 3 years. Last year, they could have made, I think, a great tournament run, but with no tournament, impossible to do so. So I think some of the interest and buzz has already been building, and some real love for the guys that are on this team was already there before now this trip to the Final Four.
A little bit more, Adam, on the city's buzz and the buzz around this team. You know, I can only think that in that unbelievable Phi Slamma Jamma run, that just not just the buzz in Houston, but the buzz around most of the state was circulating amongst that team, around that team. With the Houston squad, does it feel like maybe this sports story has moved to the forefront of the city, or has the city backing this team?
It's definitely moved to the forefront. We're now at Thursday. You know, people that are going to cover the game, myself included, leaving today, tomorrow, getting ready for Saturday's afternoon games, first game of the Final Four this weekend. So I think that cycle is starting to turn to them as it has built up over the last couple of weeks. And I think the buzz is growing. But again, it's a town, college sports. It's not in a college town. Houston is not a college town. So it just is a little bit different than everywhere else. But considering where this program is, this city is behind them in a big, big way.
Yeah. Adam, looking at the matchup that we'll see on Saturday at 4:14 Central Time, right now the matchup predictor for ESPN has teetered to the point where it has Baylor at just, I say just because this is rare for Baylor, at just a 52% chance to win this game. They're looking for this matchup to be tight. Would you agree with that assessment?
It likely will be, just because of the style of play that I think University of Houston has and their ability to ensure that's the style of the game, the pace of the game. I think they'll still be able to dictate that, even with a pretty serious uptick in competition. This will be the best team they've played, better than any of the teams they played in the tournament, better than any of the teams they saw during the regular season. And I think the talent of the Bears will matter, but I think they're capable with 4 capable guards, wing players, 4 capable bigs. They can handle whatever the opposition throws at them, and they're capable of doing what they want offensively and defensively, no matter what they're up against. I think that'll still play true, and I do think that keeps the margin closer than maybe some people would think. Vegas doesn't think it's too wide, but I think some people expect the number 1 seeded team to handle them.
I want to know, Adam, I want to give you a chance to advocate for this Houston team, because all that we have heard all week long from callers, listeners, texters is Houston has beat the 15, 10, 11, and 12 seeds in their bracket, in their pods so far throughout this tournament. That said, those teams were all hot at the right times and were playing solid basketball. Well, you know, give me a case that this Houston team, maybe they haven't played top seeds, but they've still played tough competition.
Well, let's take a look at, say, the Syracuse game. They might not have played, as you said, a top team, but they played a top scoring team with a top scoring player, an elite shooter who was absolutely on a roll, and they buried him. Defensively, Dejan Giroux basically was inside his jersey for the entire game, and that's what they can do with their defense. That's why having him at closer to 100% than even he was for that game, or obviously for the game before that, that makes a huge difference. He's been able to get healthier. He is the key to their perimeter defense, and their bigs, obviously, with the way they rebound, the key to keeping teams off the offensive glass, dominating on the defensive glass. But this is a very unfun team to play against. They are physical. They are in your face, and they force teams into bad shots and big mistakes, and that's how they capitalize offensively.
I want to know, Adam, too, we heard somebody reference, they said, man, this Houston team, they play ugly basketball, that it's not always fun to watch, but it's ugly that wins. What is your assessment of that assessment?
Well, most of the people talking about U of H have seen U of H play 4 times this year. They've seen them play Cleveland State and Rutgers and Syracuse and Oregon State. And that's pretty much it because they haven't had these marquee games that were plastered all over national television and got all this conversation going on all the national shows or even via Twitter and social media. So these are the games they've seen. The Cougars are shooting badly and they're getting outshot in this tournament where they're 4-0. It's been the ugliest basketball, but that's actually how they play. They're not intending to miss their shots. They're not intending to shoot poorly. It just shows you if they don't shoot poorly, and Marcus Sasser, Quentin Grimes, and Dejan Giroux certainly could fill it up. If that happens, and it can happen regardless of how strong Baylor's perimeter defense is, all of a sudden these ugly wins will now just apply to the other team. The other team's play, Baylor in this case, would look ugly in the game because of the way the Cougars play. That will not change. What could change is some of their shots start to fall, and maybe they have fewer offensive rebounds because their initial shots are going in. Their own coach, Kelvin Sampson, basically called them a miss first team, and in this tournament, that's what they've been.
I want to keep it right there, Adam, with this Houston squad and their pace of play, their style of basketball. What is it going to take from a pace of play, maybe an offensive and defensive standpoint, for Houston to beat Baylor on Saturday?
I think they will want to slow it down. They'll want to push when the opportunity is there, and I think they will want to take a handful of early shots, but that can't be their regular course of action. And obviously, if they're falling, they'll keep doing it, but I don't expect that to be the case. I think one way to keep Baylor from running up and down against them, to keep Baylor from getting things done with turnovers up top and turning them into easy baskets, is to slow things down, is to be methodical with their offense, and they're fine with that. They feel very comfortable with 10 seconds on the shot clock being when they initiate their offense. With Sasser, with Mark, with Grimes, with Giroux, they have 4 ball handlers. They have 4 creators. For the most part, outside of Giroux, they create for themselves, so that could be an issue, but they create enough offensive opportunities. And again, with them being so good on the offensive glass, 30-second possessions where the shot is in the air as the shot clock is hitting 0, I think we'll see quite a few of those in this game for the Cougars.
Adam, Baylor is not shot to their potential on the outside yet in this NCAA tournament. They would like to be shooting at a higher clip from 3, and while even the games they've shot well, they'd like to shoot more 3s at a decent clip. That said, they've been able to make their bet on the inside and score well in the paint when they need to. With this Houston squad, where is their MO? Are they going to try to get the ball in the paint, score inside, or are they looking at those 15-footers or back?
Yeah, they don't really put the ball in their bigs' hands to score at will. I mean, they will hand it. They'll send it into Chaney every now and then. They'll send it to Gorham kind of at the free throw line, but he most of the time will initiate offense from there. Fabian White will play with his back to basket a little bit, and Gresham essentially is just floating around near the basket looking for alley-oops, looking for rebound opportunities. Their whole offense is initiated and comes almost exclusively from their perimeter players. And the offense they're going to get from their 4 bigs goes almost exclusively from crashing the glass, rolling on pick and rolls, or just finding their way to the basket, cutting to the basket. Teams that have zoned them up usually have left kind of the backside open for them, whether it's baseline floating there and having their perimeter guys find them. They're not going to post their bigs up. They're going to win this game, score in this game if they do, because of their guard play, because of their guard's offensive play.
Adam, looking on the other side, I know you said you're getting ready to go up to Indianapolis and see this game, so I'm sure you've done at least a little bit of looking at Baylor across the way. Jared Butler, first-team All-American, Davion Mitchell climbing the draft rankings with his performance in the NCAA tournament. When you look at the Bears across the way, what do you see?
Overwhelming talent, and I think even with their late season, I wouldn't call it even close to a slump, but they clearly weren't playing their best basketball because they were so good at the beginning of the season, and I almost expect that from every team. It really happens every single year to some team. Happened to Michigan, happened to Illinois. It hasn't happened to Gonzaga, but I think it did happen to Baylor. But their overwhelming talent, the fact that any one of 3 guys, any of the guys you mentioned, could be the guy on any given night. And it really doesn't matter one game to the next. And it's really not obvious one game to the next who it's going to be, but they're capable of letting that kind of dictate itself, knowing that whoever is not the so-called 20-plus guy that night, the other guys are still going to get theirs. Where do you focus defensively? There is no Buddy Boeheim. The Dejan Giroux must stay on, in my opinion. Kelvin Sampson may feel otherwise, but I think it's going to have to be more of a team defensive effort. And Baylor's just capable of doing whatever it is they want because they're unbelievable talent across the board. And that's what they have on the court at all times. That's what I think really sets them apart. It's not three really great talents with two other guys. They're one of the deepest teams. And getting college basketball, depth is not a huge deal. But when they're, whatever five they have on the court, they're tough to deal with.
Adam, we've seen with this Baylor team all tournament long, whether they'd like to score 62 against you and beat you, they will. Whether they want to score 82 against you and beat you, they will. They can impose their will from a pace of play standpoint. That's really been the topic, though. I know I asked about that already with Houston, is how these two teams will play and who will dictate that pace. If you're Scott Drew, if you're the Baylor Bears, do you want to try to make this game as fast as possible to throw Houston off?
Yes, absolutely. But the way to do that is to turn the Cougars over. It can happen. It hasn't happened a lot this year. But if you can do that, in my opinion, it absolutely favors Baylor. And it favors Baylor to the point that they could push themselves so far in front of the Cougars, they have to play that style. I mean, if this is a Baylor lead of 10-plus points early, or if Baylor is just scoring at will, the Cougars will, almost by human nature, try to keep up. And I just don't think that's their best way to play. If they're making their shots, they will be able to do that. But if they're not turning it over, if Baylor's not putting pressure on them at the top of the key, any kind of token pressure in the backcourt, I don't know that Baylor's going to be able to dictate that, again, unless the Cougars are, A, making mistakes, or the Bears can combat their rebounding on the offensive glass. If the Cougars aren't rebounding, if they're not getting second chance points, if they're not having minute-long possessions, that's the other way they might be able to push pace or certainly create some sort of advantage offensively on the scoreboard, because the Cougars will miss. They will miss their first shot a lot. If they're having a good night rebounding the basketball, that's the other way Baylor can push it. I totally agree that Coach Drew, I would assume, is expecting to do that, wants to do that, and thinks that they will be able to do that.
Adam, we spoke with Jeremy Branham earlier this week on the show, the voice of the Cougars, and one of the things that he told us, I posed the question, this Houston team lost to Wichita State. This Houston team lost to East Carolina. While that Wichita State loss is not that bad, the ECU one is a bruise on their schedule and their season. And his response was, hey, every great team's going to have an off night and every bad team's going to have an on night. And if the two mix, anybody can beat anybody. When you think about those games where Houston has maybe slipped up against a team they were expected to beat, what does that show? Is that just the what college basketball is? Or does that say, hey, Houston, they're kind of privy to off nights from time to time?
I definitely don't think it says they're privy to off nights, not at all, because scoring and great offense and high percentage shooting, that's not who they are. If it was, they would be undefeated. But it's also why they have so many games that I think people aren't giving them the proper respect for. You mentioned Wichita State. They also beat Wichita State. Their other loss to Tulsa, they lost by 1 point on a controversial call at the end of the game. Their East Carolina loss does stand out, and only in the fact that was an off night. That was their worst game of the season. They really never got into the game, and they never played it the way they wanted to. East Carolina scored 82 points. East Carolina is a terrible basketball team. That is a terrible loss. And yet they've managed to go through the entire season and have one night like that, in my opinion. They've had some poor games, but no games like that. I mean, the only team in the country that can say they haven't had any is essentially Gonzaga. I mean, to think that they've only had one game where the opponent's even been within 5 points, like West Virginia was with Zags, that's it. Every other team in the country, including these double-figure loss teams that came into the tournament and all of a sudden looked very, very good, I think that's kind of the nature of the game in college basketball. An off night for the Cougars, they've had at least 3 of them in this tournament, and they've won all 3 of those games, because I think the off night for most experts is merely, did they shoot well or not? And if they don't shoot well, it's called an off night. They've done that a ton this year.
Well, Adam, before we get you out of here, a couple more questions on this Houston team and the game on Saturday. One of the things that I like to ask a lot of our analysts that come on is opening tip to final buzzer. When you simulate this game in your head, how do you see this thing going?
I think it'll actually go a lot like the game we saw in the last game this past weekend. maybe with a few more points. The way the Michigan-UCLA game went, I think it's going to be a grinder. I think the Cougars are going to dictate pace, but Baylor's talent is going to allow them to probably play right there with them. Baylor's good enough to play at anybody's pace. Whether or not they can dictate it to their end will probably determine whether or not they're playing from in front. They've got a double-figure lead. Cougars are forced to come back, things like that. I can't envision it going the other way, where the Cougars have a big lead or the Cougars are up double figures and Baylor's trying to scratch and claw their way back into the game. But I do expect it to be close. I do expect the last 3 minutes to be intense. Every single possession matters type of game. And it very well may come down to the last 2 or 3 possessions. Maybe not a buzzer beater, maybe not a one-possession game at the end, but a game that is not decided until the final 2 minutes.
And then last question here before we get to our Bear games. Adam, when you think about this Houston team, you talked about it. They've had 3 off nights in the NCAA tournament and still won the game in the end. Would you say that this Houston team almost refuses to lose?
There's definitely an element of that to it. And I think early in this tournament, because Giroux was hurt and because they had that game against Rutgers, that's a game that a lot of teams in this tournament would have lost. They were down late. They had to make plays late. They're at the free throw line with a chance, to put that game away and couldn't do it. They almost had the same scenario with them in the Oregon State game, had a 17-point lead, and then it's tied with 4 minutes to go. So they just went and, blew out Oregon State a second time for the final 4 minutes. That's what they're capable of defensively. That's why they can overcome anything. That's why they don't believe they're going to lose. And something I referenced a little bit earlier, the reason they didn't have longer tournament runs the last 2 years there was a tournament, because Tyler Hero hit a shot against them in the final 30 seconds when the Cougars were beating Kentucky in the final 40 seconds of that game. Tyler Hero obviously played in the NBA Finals last year. And the other game they lost was when Jordan Poole hit a 35-footer at the buzzer for Michigan. And Jordan Poole is now starting for the Golden State Warriors in the NBA. These are the types of teams that had those type of players that are the reason why the Cougars weren't already beyond the Sweet 16 or into the Elite Eight or possibly into the Final Four. And there are players on this team that have been through that. Dejan Giroux is the one that sticks out the most. He even mentioned the Tyler Hero shot from a couple of seasons ago as to why they weren't there and didn't go further. And that sticks with teams, players, coaches. And I think that helps them a great deal in this tournament with what you said, that refuse to lose mentality.
Absolutely. Hey, Adam, we got the Bear Games questions of the day today that we give to all guests and callers that are usually it's a break away from sports, just something random for you. But we're going to start right here. What is the sports moment, the breaking news sports moment that you'll never forget where you were when you heard it?
It's probably when the Astros traded for Randy Johnson. When they traded for him in 1998, they were already the best team in the division. I think a lot of teams or a lot of people and fans thought they were going to win the World Series potentially that year. And then at the deadline, at the 11th hour, you found out Randy Johnson was coming aboard, and then he did what he did. I remember where I was. I was just coming out of a movie, and I turned on the radio, and boom, the news broke.
Lock it in. How about that? One of the other things we got here today is our Disney movie madness that we're playing in honor of March Madness, letting our callers and guests pick a couple of these matchups. How about the Lion King or Tarzan? Who are you taking out of those two?
Lion King all day, every day.
100%. That's a Final Four team right there. It's a one seed. And then these are a couple of newer ones. I myself have only seen one of these. It's Zootopia or Moana?
I've only seen parts of both. I'll go with Moana.
Moana. Lock it in. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. It stays undefeated on this radio show. Hey, Adam Wexler, thanks so much for joining this show today, giving us all your Houston rundown. And, man, I'm just excited to have two Texas teams here where they are.
Hadn't happened before, and looking forward to seeing it unfold this weekend.
Absolutely. Thanks again. That was Adam Wexler of Sports Talk 790 in Houston. Breaking down the Cougars as they match up with the Baylor Bears this weekend. The refuse-to-lose mentality. There are teams out there, Armstrong.
You did not ask that.
There are teams out there.
I was like, oh, my God.
That just refuse it. But here's the deal. Here's why I asked that. Because I knew that Adam Wexler, you know what he said? I said, Adam, does this team have a refuse-to-lose mentality? He was like, yeah, to an extent, because he's an objective, good, unbiased journalist.
He didn't just say, they won't lose.
This team refuses to lose.
They won't lose because they refused.
Late in the game, if it's close, you better watch out because it's over. Mind you, Arkansas was up they were down by only 4 with 6 minutes to go, 8 minutes to go. Such a chance to come back and win the game. That was the time where they could have refused to lose. And you know what Maceo Teague did? Maceo Teague refused to lose. How about Ashley Hodge joins the show at 1:05 today. J.D. Pickell has been walking his dog since the start of the 11 o'clock hour. So he's going to join the show at 1 o'clock as well. Come on, and we're going to talk a little bit more college basketball in and around the sport and what's been going on. Talked about the Carolina way earlier. That's been the big news thing that we're talking about today so far is North Carolina and where they are without Roy Williams, who has decided to retire. But I would say it's so tough because it's not a bigger news story. I think Roy Williams retiring is probably the biggest news story in sports today, while there are other news. So Chad Morris just got hired at a high school at Allen, which is just...
It's hard to say Chris Beard going... I would say Chris Beard going to Texas is possibly slightly more of a bigger news, but whenever UNC announces their next coach, that will be the biggest news.
I don't know.
But Roy Williams retiring is massive news.
I think Roy Williams retiring because the magnitude of 33 years.
That's true.
The magnitude of now an 18 years.
I mean, this is talk about a blue blood coach.
Yeah.
I mean, like, this man coached North Carolina, then he went to Kansas as their head coach, brought them to some Final Fours, and then went back to North Carolina.
I think that's the biggest. I think that's the top headline today.
Yeah, that's fair.
Without a doubt, top headline. But sources confirming that Texas will hire Chris Beard from Texas Tech to be the next head coach at UT. If you go to the Wikipedia site and you refresh it, Chris Beard is still listed as the head coach at Texas Tech. Previously, he was at Arkansas Little Rock, Angelo State, McMurray. He was the manager at the University of Texas under Longhorn coach Tom Penders. Graduated with a bachelor's in kinesiology in 95. So he's a Texas grad. We figured it out, okay? A little bit of research. Received a master's in education from Abilene Christian, where he served as a GA in 98, was a GA. Under Beard's watch, Red Raiders made the deepest NCAA tournament run in school history. School record 31 wins in 2019 on the way to the championship runner-up against Virginia, in which they won. Remember that? Do you remember that? Texas Tech won. That was the 3-game stretch where Virginia just got horrendously great, like calls that were horrendous that went their way for the storyline of like the team. What if I told you a team would lose to a 16 seed and then win a national championship? That was the reality for the teams that lost to Virginia in that NCAA tournament run. Auburn. It was going to be Auburn, Texas Tech.
It was.
Auburn, I would have loved that matchup.
What a great game.
That would have been so good. And instead, it's freaking Virginia. I hate watching Virginia play basketball.
I can't stand Virginia.
It's not entertaining.
I can't stand
It's
Virginia.
not remotely entertaining. Sure, great coaching and whatnot, but, I mean, they won a natty. That's sad. I thought Texas Tech deserved to win that game. Chris Beard now, though, a graduate of UT, an alumni from UT, is moving on to coach at UT. We had the analogy was mentioned earlier. I mentioned the analogy earlier. What if Scott Drew was hired this year? Okay, he comes to Baylor, and in year 3 or 4, he goes to the national championship game, builds this team up to. I mean, you're kind of putting yourself in the shoes of Texas Tech fans right now. Okay, my thing is, if Scott Drew did that, and then 5 years in, looked up at everybody and said, "Hey, I'm going to TCU," that would be horrendous. Who would want that? You would ostracize the guy from all things Baylor for the rest of history. He's a nice guy. He's a great dude. He built the program. Thank you for your service. Salute. But then he's going to coach your rival team that you face 2 or 3 times every year? That's horrendous. You don't want that. That's not the kind of character that you expect out of a head coach. That said, and I want to get your thoughts on this too, 254-339-1122 via text or call. That said, the thing with Chris Beard moving from Texas Tech to Texas, they're not A1 rivals. You know that. They're not A1 rivals. It's Texas and Texas A&M, even though they don't compete as much anymore. It's Texas and Texas A&M. That said, the rivals in name, it's the 2 state schools that are the big, Tech and State. What are you going to, fine. Him moving from Texas Tech to Texas would be an egregious coaching move, if not for the fact that he is a Texas alumni. Put yourself in those shoes. You now go from being a Baylor fan, Scott Drew goes to TCU. Now put yourself into Chris Beard's shoes. You move up the ladder. Arkansas, Little Rock, get a win. Go to UNLV. Leave there after 48 hours because you get the Texas Tech job. Granted, it's a job that's kind of rivals with the school that you went to, so it's like but I'm being a professional about it, so I'm going to go and I'm going to do it, and we'll see what happens. Fine and dandy, right? Then your dream job opens up. The school that you went to, that you love, opens up, and you've got the opportunity to coach there, to do what you love to do at the school that you love that you went to. I can't blame the guy for moving to a rival when it's his university, when he's an alumni. That's my free pass that I give to Chris Beard. I hope that you do too. I hope that it's understandable what Chris Beard is doing in this move. That's the second biggest headline today on April Fool's Day, that Chris Beard is going to UT. Unless maybe they put the rivalry aside for 15 minutes and decided to pull an April Fool's joke on all of us. I think the Roy Williams stuff is real. I don't think there's any way it's an April Fool's joke. Like I said earlier, if this started as an April Fool's joke, it is reality now because they've realized they're in way too deep to say, oh, April Fool's, he's still our coach. No, it's too late. He's gone. Roy Williams is gone from North Carolina. What are the odds at Chris Beard? This is an April Fool's joke to Texas. Probably 0. Chris Beard is going to be on the sidelines at Texas, and I think this is the one that's going to work. I didn't have a ton of confidence in Shaka Smart coming to Texas, but Chris Beard can bring in transfers to win right away at UT. He can win with talent. He's won without a lot of talent, without Texas caliber talent at Texas Tech. I think Chris Beard's a great hire for Texas. I'm not going to ostracize the guy from moving to a rival because of the scenario and situation that he's in. I think this is a win for Chris Beard because he gets to go to his alma mater, the university that he loves, and it's a win for Texas because I think Chris Beard's going to win at Texas. That said, again, will the toxicity of the program at UT stifle Chris Beard's coaching ability? That is possible. That is on the table. Those cards are on the table. I don't think it's going to happen. I think this one will be different, but they say that about every flipping coach that walks through the door. There's a new football coach and a new men's basketball coach at UT. Was it the athletic director or the president that left like this time last year? Just what is going on at UT right now? Like this can't be Again, that perfect word, toxicity. The toxicity of the program is shining through right now in way more ways than one. A new women's basketball coach as of last year with Karen Aston ousted, but you're just replacing guys, replacing pawns as the heads of different. A new softball coach as of last year at the heads of these major teams within the Texas program. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Maybe Chris Beard can flip it around. If there's anybody that can do the fixer-upper job there, though, I've got confidence in Chris Beard. I like Chris Beard. Covered him at UALR. Good guy. I think he's a winner at Texas. We'll see if the way that program is, though, stifles his winning ability. I'm Drake Toll. Armstrong Sims. J.D. Pickell joins us from walking his dog here at 105. And Ashley Hodge comes on the show to talk about what it's been like to be in Indianapolis, to run into players' parents, to run into players and Baylor fans on the street. Ashley, you got to tell us what's going on in Indy, bro. We'll be right back. This is Up Tempo.
The calm before the storm has set in as the nation prepares for the Final Four this weekend. Anxiously waiting, it's as though sports have been put on pause until Saturday's semifinal. Psych! Roy Williams announced this morning that he is retiring after 33 years coaching Carolina basketball. And sources have confirmed that Texas will hire Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard as its next basketball coach. A couple of Baylor teams were in action last night as the number 9 Bears volleyball squad met Kansas State in Waco at 2 p.m. Led by 13 kills from both Yanciana Presley and Lauren Harrison, along with 34 assists from Hannah Sedgwick and another 6 blocks from Sedgwick, Baylor earned a clean 3-0 sweep of the Wildcats. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
How much you want to make a bet I can throw a football over the mountains?
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Paulie, give me some of your tots. No, go find your own. Come on, give me some of your tots. No, I'm freaking starved. I didn't get to eat anything today.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Brian, don't be jealous that I've been chatting online with Dave all day.
Your place for a Baylor take on your lunch break. Here's Drake Toll.
All right, welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den. Some mellow vibes for your afternoon here with Ashley Hodge coming on. J.D. Pickell joins the show. Ashley, I've got so many questions for you about what it's been like to be in Indianapolis, running into players, running into parents, talking with players on the podcast. But I want to start right here, right now. I trust your judgment more than anybody else's, and I love you. I trust your judgment too, but
right. No,
not on this right now.
I don't even trust my own judgment. most things.
Ashley, I've got a ticket. I've got it lined up right here, Ticketmaster. $470 to make it to the national championship game on Monday and sit on the roof of Lucas Oil Stadium. Do you think that price will go down, or am I looking at needing to buy that right now?
I would buy it right now.
$470. You think that's about as low as they're going to get?
I do. If it's a Gonzaga-Baylor final, it's going to be a tough ticket. If it's UCLA, Houston, if they're crashing the party, the price will go down.
$25. You just got to
giving them away.
Just show your ID card, and you just come on in. I can't. Can you imagine how anticlimactic that would be?
I think it might be kind of cool. I mean, I hope we see Gonzaga Baylor, but if we saw UCLA Not Houston. If we saw UCLA Baylor, I'd be
But
excited.
UCLA Houston would just be.
It would be like that would be such a 2020 move. It was 2021 though, so we'll ride with it. Ashley, what's the vibe, man? I feel like sorry, I keep cutting you off.
It's a little depressed today after the news. It's going to be a lot harder to beat Houston with the news about the 2 guys in our top 8 testing positive. Has that made its way to Waco yet?
Yeah, we heard that Jared Butler, Maceo Teague. It sounds like Davion Mitchell because the contact tracing is also going to be out. Did you hear that?
Hey, I can't pull anything on you guys, man. I can't pull anything on you guys.
I was like, no shot.
Matthew Meyer's left leg was amputated late last night, but it sounds like he might still play.
He can walk on it.
No, the vibe is good. I just had lunch with Jason King and Evan Miyakawa, who you guys have had on the show many times. Great guy. So we're getting excited, man. It's going to be a tough task to beat Houston. They are a gritty team. They play hard, and you got to bring the fight to them. But I think the Bears are up for it, and I fully expect a Baylor-Gonzaga final on Monday night.
Ashley, when it comes to the players, the parents, I mean, the vibe around the city, I asked this the other day to Jason King. I think while you guys were having lunch, actually, or right around that time. You know, I asked him, there have been times before where you've been in a random city in America, run into a Baylor fan because there's a game going on there.
Sure.
But with it being a pandemic, limited capacity, less Baylor fans than would normally be in Indianapolis, but you're still, I'm sure, running into folks. What are some of those interactions been like?
Yeah, I ran into the Teague family right before the game against Villanova, spent, an hour or so tailgating with them. That was a blast. They're great people. And then I had dinner with Jared Butler's parents. We're not running into players. They're in a strict, they're not allowed out. I do have a couple of funny stories about that though. One person asked me, they said, hey, I saw Mark Patterson, out of the bubble talking to his family and hugging his family, and other Baylor fans were coming up to him and like, why in the world are we allowing anybody out of the bubble, particularly a guy that's a walk-on on the team? And I said, do you know he has an identical twin? And they said, oh, that makes sense now. and Jordan Turner also has a twin. So that may be throwing some guys for some loops here, when they see what looks like Mark Patterson and Jordan Turner out and about on the town. But no, they are in a strict lockdown. And, it's really cool to spend time with the parents that we've been able to spend time with. And we are seeing random people around town. I ran into Matt Norlander, had a good interaction with him. And then also Jeff Goodman, met him for the first time, even though we do Field of 68 stuff with him, Jason King and I do. But it's pretty cool to run into these guys and just hear their perspectives.
Wow. Yeah, shout out Matt Patterson, too. Matt Patterson, the identical twin brother of Mark Patterson, freaky athlete. He's a social club KOT guy, so he's not in a fraternity. But he is a Baylor affiliate. Now, here I'm sort of on the train that I really think Baylor still has their best game out there. And maybe I'm someone who just like, I don't have a developed enough eye when I'm watching basketball to where I'm not appreciating this correctly. Is that accurate to say that Baylor still has their best game out there and they're in the Final Four?
Yeah, no. Mark Vital said this, and I've said it too, and I'm not going to go back on my word on what I believe. I thought that the Villanova game would be the hardest game for Baylor until the final against Gonzaga, if they matched up with the Zags in the final. And I say that because, Baylor is making strides every game to get closer and closer to that level that they were at before the COVID pause. And, I think we're seeing progress to get there each game we play. And Mark Vital said this to us when Jason King and I interviewed him, I think it was yesterday. He said, every game we play, we get stronger. We get more back to where we were when everyone was talking about it. It's Gonzaga Baylor, not 1-1. You can't really separate the two of them. And the analytics said that both of us were equally strong. And then, of course, the COVID pause, our defense slipped, but our defense is getting back to that level. And so I do expect that we're going to see an effort that's even better than what we saw against Arkansas on Saturday.
Ashley, I kind of want to go back a little bit to what it's been like to be in Indianapolis. We had Smokey on the show earlier. I love getting perspective for what this has been like for you guys being not in the bubble necessarily, but around it, in and around, about as close as you can get. And so I'm sure our fans, too, are so intrigued by our listeners are so intrigued by, man, what would it be like to be there? So paint that picture for me on what the vibe is around Indianapolis right now, what you're kind of seeing and going through in your day-to-day.
Yeah, so it's everything is within, I would say, like a 1.5 mile square, like radius. Like you can go to all the restaurants, grocery stores, sporting events within a mile, except for Hinkle Fieldhouse. That was a little bit further out. But, it's been cool because, I'm running into members of the Drew family. I'm running into Drew's friends. I stayed up late talking to Casey Schmidt, who played at Arizona and then transferred to Valpo and is good friends with Scott Drew. He told me a lot of stories about Arizona and Lute Olson. I mean, so that's the value, I think, of being here in person. It is cool too to watch the games. The views aren't as good as television. I admit that, but it is kind of cool to watch the games, be among Baylor fans, and then come back and watch the replay and just get that different vantage point. So I like that, personally, and I just love being in with the energy of the fans. And Baylor showed out pretty well for this Sweet 16 Elite Eight, but I think you're going to see a great contingent of Baylor fans here for the Final Four, including
Drake Toll. I mean, if he pulls that trigger here, it's gonna be Drizzy Drake Toll
coming. Yeah, we got a lot of guys from SicEm coming.
It'll be a full house. Now, how quickly did they turn the page on that Elite Eight victory over Arkansas? Because I'm still riding that high from that game. Like, you could not tell me anything different. How quickly did they turn the page and lock back in for Houston?
Well, Drew has, I think, a 24-hour rule. He lets them celebrate for 24 hours, especially when we don't have a game for 5 days. So I think they celebrated that, rested, and then it was back to work on Wednesday. All my days are running together right now. It's funny. I decided to stay. I was going to fly back to DFW and then, come back here. But because I decided to stay, it's a little bit chaos. I've got to go do laundry here at one of those coin-operated laundromats as soon as we get off of this call. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. And it's one of those experiences that, I'm here for the ride as long as it takes us, and hopefully that's through Monday night with a celebration at the end.
Without a doubt. Hey, Ashley, one of the questions I have for you, and I asked this to Smokey too, there have been a lot of folks out there that have said it's national championship or bust. And folks have thrown that around really almost all year. You keep hearing hey, it's Elite Eight or bust, and you get past that. Yeah. Well, it's Final Four or bust. And then so I want to know, I'm sure you would disagree with those that say that if Baylor doesn't win a national championship, this season was a failure. Am I right in that assessment?
Oh, yeah. No. This season is a raging success. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. I mean, making a Final Four is historic. It's a great accomplishment. They want more. And I'll admit, I'll be disappointed if they don't make the national title game. But if they lost to a historically great Gonzaga team, there is nothing to hang your head about. That's going to be a tough one to win. And I think that if we played 5 times, we'd win 2 of them. I don't think we're a heavy underdog, but I think we'll be a slight underdog, and I do think we're capable of beating the Zags. And I think our guys expect to beat the Zags, but it's going to take a really great effort. They're going to have to be locked in and playing really their best basketball to do it.
Now, looking to Saturday, obviously the goal is to play Gonzaga. Got to get past the Cougs first, and Drake and I are kind of on the same page around like an 8 to 10 point victory. We think Baylor, will match up well with Houston. We'll take care of business. What's your early assessment of that game? You have a score prediction for us or a game flow analysis for us right off the bat here at Uptempo?
Yeah, no, I said 67-59 personally, and I would say Baylor wins by, or 67-58, I think is what I put. So I think 9-point victory. So I'm right with you guys. I would say that if it's a physical, lower scoring game, the chances of upset for Houston go up. If it's called pretty tight and it's more of a free-flowing game like that Arkansas game, I just don't think Houston has enough offense to beat the Bears. So I think the more possessions that are played, the better the chance that the Bears win by double digits. But I think Houston's going to do everything they can to keep it as in a low-scoring game, and Baylor can win those. I mean, they won one against Villanova. They've won quite a few, throughout the year. TCU comes to mind, at Texas Tech. So, but that's what I expect.
Ashley, this Baylor team, unbelievable and historic run they've made so far this season. They're on the cusp of possibly playing for a national championship. Modern history, we have not seen success like this from the Baylor program. I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, it cannot be setting up. It's a broken record. The Baylor Bears are in the Final Four. But I don't think the luster of that phrase can be lost. When you hear that, what kind of emotions are elicited from you?
It's the achievement that all college programs want to have on their resume. Obviously, winning a national championship is huge, but a Final Four has a lot of prestige to it. Particularly for coaches, you always hear, people talk about, well, he's a Final Four coach, and this guy's a Hall of Famer. Well, this guy's not a Hall of Famer because he never made a Final Four. So I think it's a huge accomplishment for Scott Drew, such a big milestone for the program. To do it in a COVID year makes it, I think, even more special because of all the obstacles they had to overcome. So really proud of these guys, really proud of their focus, and hopefully we got more to come.
And with this being Scott Drew's, hopefully first of many Final Fours, but this obviously being the first one, do you worry at all about this team's, I guess, getting caught in the spotlight a little bit and maybe having a little bit of stage fright? Is that something that we're concerned at all with this team, how they approach the Final Four?
No, they're cool customers. I was listening to a podcast with Jerome Tang that he did for the SicEm podcast, the official university podcast, and he had some really cool comments about the Arkansas game. He said that, there was a point in the game where things got kind of heated on the bench, players yelling at each other, and Maceo Teague, just said something like, calm down. Let's allow ourselves to be coached. Let's listen to Coach Tang and allow ourselves to be coached. Mark Vidal got upset not only at the players, but also the coaches. And he said, our body language is bad. We need to have better body language. And the coaches are like, yeah, you're right. We do. I mean, it's that high accountability culture that I think is going to, even when, there's pressure, there's nerves, these guys want to win so bad, but I think there's just that accountability culture that's going to keep them loose enough and really get them focused on the right things. It's going to pull them through.
That's so cool.
Ashley, I know we kind of bounce back and forth from the actual gameplay to the pageantry of being in the Final Four and the pageantry of Baylor being here. And I'm going to go with the pageantry question here because it's a different year and things are so, new normal. What's that golden price? We had a guest on the show earlier this week that said, listen, if anyway, take out a loan. It was Coach Kendall Cout, to be exact, said take out a loan if it means that you can get here and see Baylor play in the Final Four. What is your take on that? I mean, are fans in the spot where, hey, it's about time to call the bank?
Now you're pulling on two different emotions with me because I'm a financial planner as my main job.
Yep.
And I would tell people to be sensible. But then again, I'm a diehard Baylor basketball fan. I think that, there is a price where I think you have to ask yourself if it's worth it. I think that's probably around $1,000 for me personally. But I would say if you can get a ticket for under $1,000, I think you'll not regret it. It'll be a special deal to be there in person and to see this historic event.
Wow.
I mean,
I got chills. I got chills. I don't have $1,000 to spend to go, but I'm still going.
But in 5 years, here's I have a friend who's considering buying a motorcycle, and it's the same logic I'm going to give him that I gave to him that I will bestow here. In 5 years, will it matter or will it impact you in a negative way that you spent $1,000 to go see Baylor win the national championship?
Right.
Probably not, right? Again, with that being said, I'm not going.
Wait a second.
But I mean, that feels like, okay, this is something, if this matters to you, if this is something that's important to you, like in the grand scheme.
Listen, if someone has followed the team every game, gone to every home game, like a Chris Fuentes, I got a ticket for him, so he's going to sit right next to me. But like a guy like that, I mean, you do it because you're invested. If you're just a casual fan and then you're coming in now, I don't know if I'd spend $1,000 if that's you. But if you've been following the ride from the very beginning and you're a diehard, then I think $1,000 is kind of my threshold.
Yeah, is there a caravan of loyal Baylor fans that you've been with since, the home games that are here now with you in Indy?
Well, not here now, but they were here for the Sweet 16 and they're coming back for the Final Four.
Yeah. Good,
so good. These are the same guys I've been going to games with. For the 2010 Elite Eight run, the 2012 Elite Eight run, and all these tournaments throughout the years, there are a good, 500 to 1,000 diehard loyal basketball fans in the Baylor family. We need to grow that. And this certainly will, but there are some good ones.
Let's go.
Actually, this question's kind of twofold, and I know, we've just kind of bounced all around here, but I could talk basketball with Ashley all day. I love this. The court, You know, I've seen plenty of videos in the past of Final Fours and national championships, and just the packed-in nature of AT&T Stadium, where the court is spaced kind of like the football field would be. Whereas in Lucas Oil, it's sideways to where I would have expected them to put it. Do you have any information on why that is? Why they haven't opened up the entirety of the stadium for fans to enjoy the game?
I don't know. I know that the Final Four ticket on Saturday gets you into both games.
Okay.
Now they have a north and a south side, so basically they have a partition right in the middle of the stadium that divides it into two courts. So, like as the game before the Baylor Arkansas game was ending, fans were coming out of the north end and we were going into the south end. So maybe that's the way the Final Four is going to be as well, just so they can avoid. I don't know the answer to that, because maybe they avoid the hour mandatory cleaning that has to be done because of COVID. But you are a little further away from the court just because of the COVID rules. Yeah. So it is a different deal, but it's cool. I mean, you're really there for the atmosphere.
And then say, Ashley, that yours truly does get to sit on the roof of Lucas Oil Stadium for a pretty penny. What are the odds that, I run into Ashley Hodge, my good buddy who's in Indianapolis, and I forgot that I left my phone with him down by his seat, and then I accidentally get stuck in a conversation. Next thing you know, the buzzer sounds, game's over, and I've been sitting by him the whole game. Sorry, you guys. I didn't realize it.
So they have not been very strict about checking tickets for people that want to move down. However, like what they're doing is they're like tying seats together that you're not supposed to sit in. And then I think what they're doing is they have like these groups of like 3 seats or 5 seats or 6 seats. And so sometimes if you only want 4, you may get an empty seat next to you. So if it's possible that you will have some Baylor fans that will welcome you into that empty seat, especially if you're single and you're by yourself, that's a plus.
I am single and I'm by myself. That's twofold right there. Maybe it's a pretty Baylor fan that's also single but not by herself.
There you go.
Right. So I think your odds are decent of doing that. It's definitely worth a try. The worst thing they can do is relocate you to your seat upstairs, right?
Or bring some scissors and you can just cut one.
Yeah. I'm going to go.
There you go.
I'm just going to visit the concourse and just wander the concourse for a while. And I love it. JD, what else you got?
Man, I hate to be that guy. I'm going to ask the big picture question here.
Sure.
What does a Final Four victory / national championship victory do for the legacy of Scott Drew? Because it feels like there's not a whole lot more he can give to Baylor. Like, he is forever the greatest basketball coach in men's basketball history for Baylor. What does a Final Four victory do here?
Yeah, I said this on another interview. He's just a guy that is like, what's next? I mean, he's a what's next guy. So I do think that I don't expect him to, flirt with other college jobs. I think he's very happy at Baylor. I think he's going to be a lifer at Baylor. I really feel that way. And I think he's going to, really focus on building an even bigger legacy. If he wins the national championship this year, that's going to be awesome. He's going to want more. Yep. If he doesn't win the national championship, he's going to want the national championship. And this is really going to help recruiting. It's obvious. The new arena is going to really help, build this fervent fan base that we need. I think it's the right size. I did an article called The Quadruplets on the website talking about our 4 great guards. And I was looking at these triplets in Arkansas in 1978. Yep. The interview was about how Barnhill was impossible to win in. It was like 8,900 people. And Drake, you probably know this growing up. And then they went to Bud Walton in 19,000. And now all of a sudden, it's not this home court advantage, so these small, intimate arenas is where it's at. And I mean, we're doing the right things. We're doing the right things to keep him. We're doing the right things to really build this fervent, basketball culture. So I feel good that, he's built this foundation. Now it's time to reap, and he's only 50 years old. And, he's got a 15 to 20 year window here where he can do a lot of incredible things along the lines of Jay Wright, Krzyzewski, and all the great coaches that have accomplished unbelievable things in college basketball.
I love that you mentioned that. I love that you mentioned that, Ashley, about Barnhill Arena. The old adage that there's not a bad seat in the entire place. So while there's the bit of the downsize, you kind of get more intimate feel, a better atmosphere. That's one of the things that the other adage, you could have 10 people in Barnhill Arena, and it was loud, and it was just a great home court advantage. So I'm sure the field house will offer that for Baylor. Ashley, we've kept you well over time. I'm so sorry for that, but I'd like to keep you even longer if we could. Thank you so much for joining the show today.
Bear games?
Bear
games,
shoot!
Huh?
Shoot, I forgot we have Bear games today. Ashley, Bear games question of the day. I was just lost in the sauce right now.
It's a thick one. It's a thick sauce.
The Bear games question of the day today. What breaking news sports story sticks with you, where you remember where you were when it happened?
That's a good question.
The Dennehy news. I hate to bring that up. I hate to bring that up, but I definitely remember where I was. I was in a hotel in Springfield, Missouri when I got the news, and that was a pretty sad day for Baylor basketball fans.
Yeah.
So that's the number one thing that came to mind, and I guess it's appropriate. It's the full cycle, right?
Yeah, full cycle. I mean, it's definitely it applies now, especially that Baylor's had this success and it's going on now to be right here.
Quick question for you guys. Quick question. 5 former Houston players. I asked Grayson this. I want to see if you can name 5 former Houston Cougars. Basketball.
No shot.
Clyde
the Glide Drexler.
Olajuwon.
He went to Houston too.
Shoot. Kevin McHale.
Kevin McHale was Minnesota.
Gosh, dang it.
Michael Young. So the rest of that Phi Slamma Jamma team, Michael Young, Larry Mead, Mr. Michal, Benny Anders, Reed Geddes are the guy that does color commentating. So anyway, I just wanted to test you guys' old school knowledge.
Yeah, there was no shot. I wasn't getting one. I said James Harden.
James Harden. That's good. Hey, Vinny Johnson played for Baylor, though.
Yes,
if that gives me bonus points. Hey, Ashley, we got Disney movie madness going on right now, too. How about, you ever seen Moana or Zootopia? Those two are in
No, my kids are too old for those, and my Disney watching has gone downhill since they've grown older.
Never too old for that. This one, you've seen both of these, though, or parts of them. Lion King or Tarzan?
Yep, seen both of those. I'm a Lion King guy. Definitely go Lion King there.
Yeah. Locked in. Hey, Ashley, thanks so much for joining the show today. Always a pleasure to have you. I mean, let's just do this every day.
Sounds good.
I love it.
All right, you have a good one.
Thanks, Ashley. Again, that was Ashley Hodges, SicEm365. You'll be in my heart.
It's a crime that both those movies are going up to each other in the bracket.
You'll be in my heart.
Phil Collins. So it's a soundtrack battle. Tarzan wins in a landslide, but I think full motion picture, you got to go Lion King, right?
Trash in the Camp? Not a single word in Trash in the Camp. Not a damn word. Stupid-doop-dabba-dab-stupid-doop-dabba-dabba-da-doo-bop. They said, Phil, gosh darn it, bop, she-doo. They said, Phil, I want a song, no words. Can you do it? Because he cooked up in the stew. He cooked up all that madness in the stew, and they were like, I bet I got an idea that you can't do, Phil. A song, no words, but make it good. And it's the second best song on the whole album.
What's one for you?
You'll be in my heart.
I love, what's the other one? People Like Me. I want to know. Strangers. Can you show me?
Shoot. Very good. You know what I like better than that, though? Like me. Shooba-doop, bop-a-dop, shooba-doop-a-dop-a-dop-a-doo-bop. That's that. I love it. He said, listen, Phil, all you have is scatting.
Look, our numbers are plummeting right now.
Hey,
really?
Because if they are, it's because folks just don't know. They don't know what they don't know.
You know what's even a better song than
They
that?
don't know what's good for them.
Oh, mama, don't you cry.
All right, now they're plummeting. Now it's at 0.
Dude, now we're going up. Now we're breaking records.
Oh, my gosh. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Andrew Robertson's here, Jack McKenzie, Armstrong Sims. It was Armstrong and I for the first two hours, and now we got a full house. It's a live studio audience. We'll be right back. We're talking a little bit more of, I want to know your sports memory, your sports thing after the break. But
good question.
This is Up Tempo. Shooba-doop-dabba-dabba-dooba-dabba.
The calm before the storm has set in as the nation prepares for the Final Four this weekend. Anxiously waiting, it's as though sports have been put on pause until Saturday's semifinal. Psych! Roy Williams announced this morning that he is retiring after 33 years coaching Carolina basketball. And sources have confirmed that Texas will hire Texas Tech head coach Chris Beard as its next basketball coach. A couple of Baylor teams were in action last night as the number 9 Bears volleyball squad met Kansas State in Waco at 2 p.m. Led by 13 kills from both Yanciana Presley and Lauren Harrison, along with 34 assists from Hannah Sedgwick and another 6 blocks from Sedgwick, Baylor earned a clean 3-0 sweep of the Wildcats. In soccer, the Lady Bears met up with Texas on the pitch at 6 p.m. last night in Waco and fell 4-0 in the game. The match was coming off Baylor's 5-0 victory, but the Bears just couldn't ride the momentum into a win in last night's match. Also in Baylor sports, the Lady Bears basketball's Jordan Oliver has entered the transfer portal. She started 3 games this season for the team and averaged 11 minutes per game while putting up 4 points per contest. She has 3 years of eligibility remaining. Elsewhere in the country, the NCAA is in a monumental Supreme Court case regarding players being compensated for the use of their likeness and other possible compensations moving forward. We'll keep you updated as the case progresses. And UConn's Paige Beckers has been named AP Player of the Year in women's basketball, becoming the first freshman to ever receive the award. I'm Armstrong Simpson. That's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Armstrong's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. And this football season, you need to stop by on game day for curbside pickup or stop by their tent next to SicEm365 at Brazos Parking for your pregame refreshment. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Welcome back to Up-Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be a home run. And so that'll make it a 4-0 ball game.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
Welcome back into Uptempo. Happy Thursday, Thursday, folks. It's been a great show today. I woke up this morning at my grandma's house. If you get that reference, text 254-339-1122. I'll send you a t-shirt. Woke up this morning at my grandma's house. Text me. I'll tell you. I'm going to keep them on. Woke up this morning, was like, it's going to be a good show today.
Yeah.
Because we're just kind of the buffer zone between us and the Final Four. There's enough to talk about.
Yeah.
But it's not all completely today necessary and relevant. And then the bottom falls out.
And then it's just April Fools. Why is everybody hiring coaches on April Fools?
Why?
That makes no sense. That's a horrible move.
Why would you announce literally anything on April Fool's Day?
It's a horrible idea.
Alvin Brooks Sr., assistant coach for Houston. Alvin Brooks the third. he's Alvin Brooks Jr.
Okay.
And then there's Alvin Brooks the third is the Baylor assistant. His dad, Alvin Brooks Jr., has just been hired as Lamar's head coach.
Why is everybody hiring coaches right now?
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
Also, someone entered the transfer portal today. Scotty B told me about it. Scotty B says, I just saw Kyler Edwards from Texas Tech is in transfer portal. Is he?
I have no idea.
Is he?
I wonder where he's
going.
Why
does Scotty B's just got the pulse on all? Yeah, right.
He's going to Texas.
I don't have a right leg.
Dude, I'm going to be honest. I don't get why.
I don't have a right leg.
I'm not against the Chris Beard move, but what are we defining success as for Texas? They went 17-7 last year. They were 11-6 in conference. Shaka wasn't bad.
If you don't win at Texas, you lost. If you get to the Final Four, if you get to the championship game and you don't win, I think Texas is not going to be satisfied.
Is that what it is? You have to win the whole deal for them to be happy with you?
I think you at least have to make the Final Four within your first 2 or 3 years, or Texas is going to let go of you. Look what happened with. Herman was just. They won a Sugar Bowl. They had okay seasons.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Have some good bowl appearances.
Shaka Smart was an okay coach. He was not a bad coach by any means. Texas is just a carousel for coaches. People come in, people come out. Unless you win. And I think the standard is just way too high.
I don't have a right leg. April Fools. I hate April Fools.
Got me.
Why did I just say? It's the most pointless, terrible. I'm having a very bad day. I love this show today, but I think April Fools is just the bane of my existence.
I was so convinced that Roy Williams was a joke.
Also, SeatGeek right here. Can I get this for $1?
Would you call me?
For $1. I'll say it again. And April Fools. Gosh, it's so pointless. Dear Diary, today was April Fool's Day. Much stuff happened. I didn't believe it, but it was true.
But it was guy came in.
A guy who writes in his
diary.
Yeah, you don't remember?
Babysitter.
Dear Diary. No. Hi, Mrs. Parr. This is Kari. You gotta have a very.
Hi, Mrs. Park. Williams left UNC today, and then Texas hired Chris Beard, and I think it's true, but I don't really know. But weird things are happening here on Uptempo.
That's really weird right now.
With the transfer rule, can Chris Beard?
What did she say? I just wish I could forget everything. Oh, you will, kid.
You will.
Oh, yeah.
Can Chris Beard just go and take every Texas Tech player with the no transfer portal rule where they can all just transfer and not to wait? Is that against any rules? Can you just go and recruit everyone that was at Tech and just bring them over?
Starting at forward at 6'9". What was his name? Something Santos Silva. I don't remember his first name.
Kyler.
What was Santos Silva's first name? Kyler Edwards.
I don't know.
Starting at guard at 6'2", number 11, Mac McClaw.
Bum, bum, bum.
And then the Irwin Center goes nuts, all 12 people. You see where Shaka Smart came out in the Marquette press conference and was like, yeah, when I was at VCU, I took a sold-out crowd for granted. He was like, yeah, we sold out 100 straight games at VCU. Yeah, because the Irwin Center, there's 12 people.
From way downtown. Shaka Smart from downtown.
Go Texas. Woo, woo, woo.
Dude, I think people would like Texas more if they just weren't so arrogant.
Yeah.
There are so many Blue Bloods that are more likable than Texas.
Yeah.
Nebraska's been down for a long time. People don't hate them.
No one roots for Texas.
Actually, Notre Dame's pretty arrogant.
Do we consider Texas a blue blood?
I think maybe in terms of football.
Yeah, in football they are.
I think they're relevant in basketball. I guess not a blue blood.
Here's the deal. You can be a blue blood and not be good currently.
Yes.
That's the truth.
Yeah,
I mean,
UCLA is a blue blood.
Yeah, they won a cajillion straight. Don't they have 11 titles?
Yeah. Wizard of Westwood. But I'm just talking about all sports in general, football and basketball. Tennessee, nobody, at least in Texas, poo-poos on Tennessee.
Poo-poos?
We don't care that Tennessee's bad.
Interesting verbiage. Yeah. Interesting verbiage.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Well, they also
I think I'll be laying down.
Yeah.
Smell what you're stepping.
Nobody's down on Tennessee.
I think Nebraska's a blue blood still in football.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Should they be?
For sure.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Tom Osborne. Blue bloods can be awful
blue blood, yeah.
right now, but they're still a blue blood.
Yeah.
When's the last time Texas has won the Big 12 even.
Before 2010, yeah,
9 or 10, yeah.
They beat
somewhere in
Nebraska.
there.
Let's just start there. They beat Nebraska.
It's
Yeah,
2021,
it's been a
guys. You know, what have you done for me lately?
Oh,
Texas?
2021.
They only have 3 in their whole existence.
In the yeah, because Oklahoma has the rest of them. That's so weird to me.
Baylor has 2. Baylor
has 2.
Uh-huh. Oh,
3.
yeah.
Yes.
Jeez.
True
Yeah.
story.
Kansas State has 2.
That's bad.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, hey, heart of Texas.
Tech has none.
Can you fall out of being a blue blood?
I don't know. I think a lot of time has to pass.
If Texas
it's
does
gonna take
nothing for another 20
it's
years.
gonna take a long time.
Here's one.
They lost to Kansas.
Here's a question to answer that question.
Okay.
Ooh.
Is Army a blue blood?
No.
Great
in your
call.
mind?
Great call.
No.
Great call.
Definitely not.
Great
Definitely
call.
And they ran
Great
things.
call.
They probably
They did
have the
run
most.
things.
Is
title.
Georgia Tech a blue blood?
Probably not.
No.
I
The
love-
greatest program.
Definitely not.
John Heisman was the head coach of Georgia Tech.
They beat Cumberland 222-0.
0. Cumberland had like
That
12
is-
players.
That is a fantastic
3 of them
stat.
hid behind. Have you seen that video? John
Nope.
Boyce video?
The overhit
No.
on that one.
Spectacular. It was a
Oh, is
great
that
YouTube video.
where he? Oh gosh.
The over did
What
hit on
happened?
220.
Yeah, overhit.
And yeah,
And
1929.
The spread also hit.
Yeah.
What's the John Boyce video?
So
think
John
I have
Boyce,
seen it.
he's on. It's the YouTube video that's about that game. It's the
Oh, no, I
they
haven't.
sent a
I haven't
YouTube
then.
video about
I
that
lied.
game and how like what had happened was Cumberland was playing Georgia Tech in baseball, and guess who the Georgia Tech baseball coach was? John Heisman, because this is the like 20s, and so
Just
what?
whatever you want.
What happens is Georgia Tech goes to play baseball against Cumberland, and Cumberland, like, it's in Tennessee. They call this minor league baseball team locally. They're like, they won't know. Just come be us. And they drubbed that, like 22-0 is the final score that Cumberland beats Georgia Tech in baseball. So Georgia Tech was
so
like, I'll do
awesome.
you one better. We want to play you in football. And Cumberland was like, no. And they were like, okay, well, we're going to sue you
Love it.
if you don't play us in football. They didn't have a football team. They like just scrounged up some law students together, and it's spectacular. One guy got a
Golly.
concussion within like the first 3 minutes and had to keep playing in the game.
Dude, they were going to cancel football for a while. Like people were dying, and then they said Teddy Roosevelt do something, and he did, and made football safe.
Ted
But
Rowe. Yeah, I don't know about safe. Safe's a strong
safer.
word.
People aren't dying.
But no one had any. No one questioned rugby. It was like, yeah, no, that checks out.
Yeah,
But
rugby's
people
interesting.
weren't dying as much in rugby. I feel like
Rugby's interesting because you don't tackle with your head. Like people now, they're coaching football players to tackle like rugby players. Like when we were at Cornell, we were watching rugby tackling. That was like the whole.
You
shift.
watched rugby tackling at
That's how-
Cornell?
that's what that was.
Study
The,
You know what they say?
Maybe
Cornell
we didn't tackle very well.
Cornell is the Alabama of the Ivy League.
I've heard that. They're
That's
both
what-
red.
If you guys are
They're both
coaching a
red
football
and
team,
I mean, they're both red and in the country.
yep, they both are American. They are in America.
They're on the
true.
Eastern time zone.
And they both have
Yeah.
mascots that don't necessarily match up with their team name.
They're both mascots are red. The crimson and the big red. Yeah.
Honestly, Cornell is the Alabama of the North.
That's what they say.
They. I am they. I am they.
I want to get to what you were talking about. Breaking news that you
Where?
remember.
What happened?
Did we mention congratulate you on your awesome news today?
Yeah, congrats on the engagement.
Whoa.
Thanks,
Big
guys.
guy's getting married
Whoa,
after all these
congratulations.
years.
Thanks.
No,
Yeah.
I was referring to the tweet you sent out earlier.
Oh, you're not getting
yeah.
married?
April Fools.
You're not getting married?
So
No, he's going back to play some college ball, baby.
So
way.
I had someone. No, I shouldn't say someone. When you texted us at 2 a.m. and said Jared Butler has COVID, my heart dropped. I wasn't sure if it was real. And then you said April Fools, and then I got to thinking, I gotta get in on this.
Got him.
And so I had pictures from an old recruiting visit when I was looking for my grad transfer year. I had to just walk on spot at Louisville and got to visit there. Had a picture in their uniform, and I was like, this would be kind of funny. I wonder if like anyone would buy this. So I put it on Twitter, and it got like a lot of really nice responses, which I felt horrible about. Like I had coaches text me, congratulations. My friend's like, man, that's so awesome. Like good for you. Chase your dreams. I'm like, I don't know how to say this.
Are you still eligible?
Yeah, you got a year,
I
right?
don't think so.
Yeah,
I
you've
think
got to
I've
have a
earned
year.
it. I
You
think I've
got to
earned
have
it.
a year.
You think?
How?
I
You
could
didn't play a
petition.
single game. Yeah,
I know, but
got
so
Olympic bobsled.
the way it works
Yeah.
is you get 5 years to play 4. So essentially, my 5th year was going to be that year I was going to play at Baylor.
Oh, okay.
And then so I didn't play that year, didn't play the year after.
Whoa.
you
So
gonna
from an academic standpoint, so say that I graduate from Baylor, okay, in 4 years. I only have 1 year of eligibility to play college sports after that?
Your clock hasn't started actually. So you could go do grad school about anywhere, and you can make it happen. Yeah, we can make it
Wow.
happen.
Yeah, remember Brandon Whedon was quarterback at Oklahoma State. He was 28.
27. Yeah, he's
27,
old.
28. Yeah.
He's old.
He had already played for the Yankees, which I don't get. I'm pretty sure how do you do that? How do you play pro baseball and you're like,
So he's a walk-on.
He was a walk-on?
He was a walk-on. You have to be
he
what's
already
called
had
like a non-scholarship athlete.
Did Brandon Whedon? He was the guy who got drafted by the Browns.
I'm assuming.
It was awful.
Horrible. Yeah.
Jake Locker did the same thing.
Spectacular.
Played baseball and came back. And
did you take the tweet down? Because I just looked for it.
I had to. Yeah.
No.
I took it down.
Yeah. Come on.
It's on my Instagram still because it has that I lied right next to it. But I had like old coaches saying like, "Man, that's so awesome." I'm like, this is kind of embarrassing.
That's demoralizing.
It's kind of embarrassing.
That is just demoralizing.
It was funny, then it kind of got kind of dark. That
I hope you feel like a terrible person.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
It's April Fool's.
For saying, I was saying like there was a lot of people that got it pretty early. And
But I don't feel bad for saying that Jared Butler had COVID. That was good.
That was.
Ashley tried to get me with my own joke.
That was really good. I was
that.
pretty shook.
Tickets are $471. I have to get 2 though. I don't want 2.
You can't buy a single?
No.
Yeah, there's no way they sell them in singles.
They don't sell them in singles.
Hey, if you want to buy the ticket, I'm happy to go.
Seriously?
I'm not gonna buy a ticket.
Would you pay for the flight? You know what that flight's gonna cost? That's got to be like $450 one way.
Road trip.
200. Shut up.
How far is it
out?
I would say, what is the drive time?
Are we gonna tell the folks at home about the show tomorrow? Armstrong, how should we handle that? How should we handle telling the folks at home about the show tomorrow?
The lack thereof.
Castellanos home run type situation.
Tell the show. Tell the people. In honor of Good Friday, myself, Drake Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong Sims, Andrew Robertson, and Jack. I don't know if Jack is, but the rest of us are. Taking a day off after a lots of thought and prayer, long conversation with our families.
Yep.
We decided to take tomorrow.
It's Good Friday.
It's Good Friday for religious reasons.
Yep.
For familial reasons. April Fool! I'm just kidding. No, we're actually taking tomorrow. We're actually taking tomorrow off.
That's not a very.
No one knows what's
we
fake
can't.
anymore.
Armstrong,
It's the worst day ever because it's just.
Yeah,
You
you
never
can't
know.
say anything. You can't say literally anything.
Nobody make any
I
big
do have a right
decisions
leg,
today.
not an April Fool's. It's not amputated. So yeah, we're gonna take tomorrow off. You haven't had a day off here in a long time.
Yeah, it depends on what you call a day off. I have left for a doctor's appointment.
No.
That's really selfish.
It's medical.
of you.
It's HIPAA.
That's selfish.
To leave for the doctor's appointment.
That's a bit. We call that a me guy.
On company time.
But
Big me
a
guy.
personal day now.
This is a we us hours operation. You just want to go.
So
just check on your body.
It will cost me
Unbelievable.
somewhere in the range of $625 to go. For one ticket for the championship. $625. Flight and hotel paid for.
Will you
Is
be
that worth
hurting
it to you?
financially?
Is that worth
By
it to you?
whom?
Oh,
It's not worth it to you.
1,000%.
Oh, then let's pull
to go
Drake.
watch Baylor in the national
rip it.
championship. I would so pay $650. My reservation is that I have to sell another $650 ticket.
The best I can do is 20. Pawn Star
I have
sucks, though.
these glasses and this knockoff jersey.
I can give you $10 in Chinese currency.
We can figure something out.
Oh, can you? You have that on hand? Oh, he's going to pull it out of his wallet. Yeah, I want to go back to that conversation we were having earlier, though. Wow, Andrew Robert, the things you see on Uptempo.
I think I have a New Zealand pizza coupon, too. That might work.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
I love that restaurant, New Zealand Pizza.
No. It's a coupon from a pizza place.
See, I think I got a Canadian penny.
In New Zealand.
Oh, wow.
I have none of these.
Sticker?
Right
I think
here.
I have a $100 bill.
Right here.
No way.
This is good stuff.
I'm
$5
just
off.
saying things.
Oh, my goodness. I have a Arkansas Pineapple Whip rewards card.
What?
Not ice cream.
JD, why do you have that?
Not
Well,
yogurt.
I went to New Zealand.
I actually have $11 in
kept
China.
Saved a pizza coupon.
Dude, if I go back, I get $5 off. They better not tell me it's expired.
If I come back.
I brought this all the way from
Oh,
America.
Donka. Welcome back.
From my
We've missed you here.
Let's be like that in New
That's a
Zealand.
free pizza.
It's like-
Oh, yeah, man.
Is this New Zealand?
No, I think it's a little bit of Jamaican with a little bit of Donka Shane.
Oh,
I don't know.
You brought back a pizza coupon. Why you do that?
Oh, it's New Zealand.
Yeah. Where did
I
you
was
think
thinking
we were
like,
talking
I was
about?
thinking like Switzerland. I was
German
thinking.
accent.
Yeah,
It
I
does.
was going.
Yeah, no.
Wait, the Dutch. Is that Norwegian? Was I thinking Norwegian? Or the Dutch. Where's the Dutch? That's That's not New Zealand.
Is that Germany?
No.
I think Dutch
No.
is Germany. No.
No. That's German. Nice try.
Sweden?
Well, hold on a second. All right, I'm
Swedish.
searching it up.
It was
Dutch.
good, though. It was good.
Dutch?
What are the Dutch?
Is it Denmark?
Denmark.
Ooh, Netherlands?
Denmark. Netherlands, Dutch, Netherlander. Sports memory that you remember where you were.
My biggest one that comes to mind is when Matt Barkley announced he was coming back for his senior year at USC.
Then he said April Fool's.
He said, I've got a lot of things that I want to finish here at USC. Me and my brothers were coming back, unfinished business, and then they went to the Sun Bowl and lost Georgia Tech. It was a dark year, dude. I'd never been so excited because they were all coming back. Him, TJ McDonald, they're starting safety. Like, they were loaded, and they just underperformed so bad.
All right, Dutch language-speaking countries. We have Belgium, Netherlands, Aruba.
No.
Suriname? I don't know how to say that.
Yes. Not a real place.
Curacao. Sure. You know what I mean.
Curacao.
Saint Martin and Dutch Antilles. There must be a bunch of islands. But
yeah.
That's the list, folks. So
Interesting.
Belgium's probably the biggest one on there.
I found it. I found where I can buy one ticket. $7,000.
There you go.
It's not even courtside. It's a suite. It's just a one-person suite. I'm in my pod.
Dude,
all right.
you'd do on location there. That'd be awesome.
That'd be pretty sweet.
Hey,
That would be sweet. But yeah, Matt Bucket coming back. Biggest memory.
Mine would be being a child. I cried so hard. It's right when I started to fall in love with the game of football. Bobby Petrino was at Arkansas. They were number 3 in the country.
Yeah, they were good.
It went LSU was 1, Alabama was 2, Arkansas was 3 in the BCS poll. I remember when that came out. I remember that being so big.
Was this Ryan Mallett?
Yeah, Ryan Mallett.
Yeah.
No, Tyler Wilson. This is the year after
Tyler
Ryan
Wilson.
Mallett. Tyler
Okay,
Wilson.
yeah.
Right. So, which I got a funny Ryan Mallett story. But I remember the next I guess like a month later, after Baylor after Arkansas had beaten Kansas State in the Cotton Bowl, the news comes out that Bobby Petrino had wrecked his motorcycle, that his mistress was aborted, that he had hired her at Arkansas, lied to the athletic department, and that his firing was imminent. I cried. I didn't understand it. I was like 10.
Yeah.
But it was like don't let this happen. Like, he can change. He'll be a better person. Please don't fire him. All that I knew was the success of Bobby Petrino, who had taken Arkansas from just meh to really, really good.
You still have love for Bobby P? You still got love for
No,
Bobby?
he's horrendous. He is awful. Now that I'm old and know what happened, like, you can't, when you're 10, you can't understand. Like, oh yeah, he was on a motorcycle with his mistress that he hired, under the table, and you're like, well, so
guy wins ball games.
Yeah, but then when you become an adult and you're like, oh, nope.
Yeah, probably not good.
That's less okay.
Ryan Mallett, senior year, right? Guy didn't show up to class. Guy didn't care about class. He's Ryan frickin' Mallett. He's going to the NFL.
Yeah.
Mind you, he missed a plane and got cut from Miami because he missed a plane. Remember
That's
that?
a bad look. I didn't know that.
Not, right here, doesn't have it. He's an assistant football coach at Mountain Home High School in Arkansas now, if that gives you a perspective.
Whoa.
Okay. Exactly. Ryan Mallett's in a lecture hall of like 300 students. Walks in late one day on a test day, reeks of weed. This is a story. No one can prove this.
I was like, how do you know this?
Everyone says they were there. This is the folklore story. Reeks of cannabis, grade A cannabis.
Indica.
Marijuana.
And indica. Sits down in his seat and looks around, test day, and goes, loudly in the middle of a 300-person lecture hall. Anybody got a Scantron for Ryan Mallett? Addresses himself in the third person because he doesn't have a Scantron for his test.
Kings stay kings.
So, of course, he is an all SEC quarterback. Everybody just starts passing down Scantrons. So he gets a Scantron. He has a Scantron. Anybody got a pencil for Ryan Mallett? And it's just folks start tossing pencils at this guy.
Dude, this guy's goated.
All SEC quarterback Ryan Mallett in the middle of a lecture, referencing himself in the third person.
Dude.
And I've got to know he bombed that test.
Anyone got the answer to number 1?
Weed thing not cool. Summoning yourself a pencil and a Scantron in the third person in a 300-person lecture hall.
And getting away with it. Ryan Mallett. No one can prove it.
We could get him on.
But there's so many people that were like, I was there that day. That's the thing.
Mallett.
I was in the lecture hall. That's the legendary lore at Arkansas.
We could probably get him on.
There's an SEC network. Yeah. They shared on Instagram a picture. It was celebrating his 10-year anniversary of a big win. And it was him on the sidelines with a pencil in his ear and holding up a Scantron. They had edited that into it. Yeah. It's
so there's legitimate.
Oh, yeah.
Cause for having that story circulating. That's so cool.
It goes low.
I love that.
Celebrity birthdays today. Logan Paul. How old is he? We got 3 minutes.
Did you prepare 3 minutes?
I got to take 3 for us. Yeah.
Oh shoot! Well, let's do that really quick.
All right, here we go. We got 6 facts. 3 true, 3 false. Or are they? Baseball is the only sport to be played on the moon. True or false?
False.
There's no way.
False.
Okay. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the all-time leader in Ivy League passing yards with just over 7,000 during his time at Harvard. True or false?
False.
False.
They zig, I'll zag. True.
They zig, I'll zag. Babe Ruth wore a cabbage leaf under his cap to keep him cool. He changed it every 2 innings.
True.
That seems true, yeah.
In 1910, an incomplete forward pass was a 15-yard penalty. True or false?
True.
False.
True.
People in nudist colonies play volleyball more than any other sport. True or false?
True.
False.
True.
Atlanta Braves third baseman Chipper
Nudist.
Jones holds the record for most home runs on opening day with 37 over the course of his career. True or false?
False.
False.
So false.
False.
If that's true, though, no way. He played for like 20 seasons. 37 home runs on opening day.
He might have not played every single opening day, though.
So
that'd
then,
be
yeah,
insane amount of home runs.
So we're still in the right.
All right, so what's our true and false? What's our?
Drake got every answer right.
There's no way.
Golf is the only sport we played on the moon.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Jeff Matthews from Cornell is the all-time league
And he has that
passer.
band. That band. She wakes up in the morning.
It's his brother Dave.
Matthews, yep.
Babe Ruth did wear a cabbage under his hat and switched to every 2 innings to keep cool. It was a penalty, 15 yards. Dude, how bad would that be? An incomplete pass is 15-yard penalty? Dude,
Wait, incomplete pass?
Incomplete pass was a 15-yard penalty.
That's tough.
In 1910. The nudists, they love volleyball. I don't know why, but
I would
apparently
know.
they love volleyball.
I would
Why
know
not?
by experience.
Oh, yeah.
I lost myself my sophomore year of high school.
Drake gets involved.
Luckily, I climbed my way out of the darkness.
Gosh.
He's here on a volleyball scholarship. And then I have no idea if Chipper Jones hit 37 over the course of his career.
There's no
I have
way.
no clue.
He said,
Just a
yeah, but
blank
he didn't
one.
play like
Just
every
made that
opening
up.
day game. 37's a lot.
There it is.
Woo! You know what time it is. Ahem.
Later, guys.
All right, I'm
Love
Drake
it.
Toll, J.D. Pickell, Armstrong, Sims, Andrew Robertson,
Yep.
Jack McKenzie in studio today. That was a fun show today, you
How
guys.
about it?
Chris Beard's gone. Roy Williams is gone. Everybody's gone.
He's
Baylor's
back,
in the
though.
Final Four tomorrow. We're gone tomorrow. But this right here all day long has been up-tempo. And by all day, I mean the 3 hours of the day. I shut down, turn off afterwards. Come back tomorrow at 11 a.m. We won't be here, but you might be. This is up-tempo.